Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are from in the world. Spurs are back, so I keep being told. I don't know what we're back from, but we're back and we're 12th and Spurs are scary. Welcome to Danny, welcome to Lubo, welcome to the other Dan, the Dan list. Chaps, are we all good? Anything anyone would like to talk about in their personal life or anything that's bothering them, or should we talk football?
Football,
mate. We'll talk football. Okay, good. I don't like the whole 5 minutes of how are you, but come on, we can do that backstage. Guys, this evening's show, we're going to look back at yesterday. We'll start off by looking at the win against Ipswich, which brings us back, and Ange just put us all in the mud and all that kind of good stuff. We're then going to look forward to the Manchester City game on Wednesday night, which should be very, very interesting. And I want to talk as well about, there's lots of talk about the Europa League being won. So I want to put a little bit of a spin on it from the point of view of everyone keeps talking about, well, Ange would be our best manager for 40 years or so if he wins it. So I want to look at it, well, what does that mean for the owners? If the owners can turn around and go, well, there you go. We've moved into a new stadium, and in the 5 years we've been in the new stadium, we've been in a Champions League final and won the Europa League. What does that do for everybody's opinion of Levy and Enoch, etc.? So we're going to talk about all that. Let me start, Danilist. I'll start with you tonight. I'll ask you one question, and then we'll just go into a kind of myriad of chaos, as we always do. Dan, yesterday, Ipswich, are you surprised with the team news, the score, the way the game went? Talk to me.
Well, evening, Savva. Evening, Ian. Evening, Dan. Big up to everyone in the chat.
Evening.
Look, I was a little bit worried about the game. I've got to be honest. I thought it would be a bit of a battle, and I wasn't sure if we would match the battle on the day. But so we got the result. It wasn't an amazing performance. We got the job done. We were Ipswich was still in the game up until 76th minutes, and then we got that third goal. So look, it was a job done performance. I mean, there was a couple of standout performances, I thought. Dan Bentancur played well. But again, it's the level of opposition, isn't it? We should be beating the teams like Ipswich, without any problems. So, look, it's a good victory. 3 wins on the row now. And look, it's building a bit of momentum. But, those 3 wins, there's a bit of context, which we need to discuss. I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Lubo, you went up there. You went and sat with Mr. Ed Sheeran. I've just made that story up in my own head, but I'm sure you were somewhere near Mr. Ed Sheeran. What was it like? What were the fans like in the way end? What was the game like from your perspective?
Well, first of all, can I just say that from coming on your show on Friday, best news for me this weekend is that Angus has been found, because I understand he was back on your show this morning, and I did say to you, Sav, you didn't have to phone the police to put a search out for him. But Angus is now back.
Hashtag search for Angus. Whenever Arsenal lose a game, Angus goes missing, and his excuse when he comes back is, so sorry, Savva, I've got a terrible hangover. Oh, to be that young and bothered when your team lost and you'd go, oh, I'm going to get drunk. Yeah, but Lubo, yeah, Angus is well, everybody. Don't worry, he is well. His Arsenal team's title hopes are not. So, yeah, as you were, Lubo.
Alan, we had a good journey down. We got a blinding parking space right around the corner, which we've never had before. Had seats that were literally front row, just left of the centre line, upper tier, which was superb. It was a great view. I think the first 7 minutes was a bit of a horror story, but after that, we rode the storm. We got away with it. We rode the storm, and we ran the game after that. To be honest, I think Ipswich had the odd attack after that, but it was pretty much Spurs all the way. And I mean, they're wide open. Listen, we won the game. We did yesterday what we should have done at White Hart Lane, to be fair. We should be beating Ipswich 4-1. And, it's the other thing also was it was nice to see we had a bit of strength coming off the bench. which is always important. And we got it. And somehow, lovely and Delap, super player. What is he, 19, 20, and playing in a team like that? He scored 22. He scored 10 Premier League goals in.
He's too old for you, Lubo. He's too old. You only want teenagers to be signed. He's too old. He's too old.
No, I'd be more than happy. Where the five of us were walking up the road to the grounds, and one of the boys turned around and said, "Would you swap Delap for Solanke?" And I think 4 out of the 5 of us said yes. I think he's got a higher ceiling and he's younger. I'd definitely swap him for Solanke. But good result.
Want Solanke though? Okay, let me go to Dan, and we'll come back to a bit more about the game. Dan, 4-1 in the end. Did it flatter Spurs? Were we 4-1 better than them? How bad were they? How good were we? What did you make of it?
I thought it was still a very rough and ragged game as such. I just feel for the first time in a little while, we actually took our chances. And isn't it mad again how we look better as a counter-attacking team?
Agreed.
And every one we've significantly won. Well, I say everyone, say 8 out of 10, random number, I know, but we've won it playing good, direct counter-attacking football. I think Spence had a very good game again. So he's definitely looking good. I think he can quite easily take the place on the left or the right, the way he's played the last, 5 games he's played for us straight. I think he's been impressive. I think Danzo, I think he had a very good game. Started off a bit messy. If I remember right on it, he was half at fault for one of their goals, but I think he's been quite solid, and actually he seems like quite a strong player, quite a strong defender as such, that he's not going to get knocked all over the place. I thought Archie Gray had a very respectable game. He wasn't just doing good because he's not a centre-back and he's there sort of thing and getting the extra credit for it. I think he actually had a very respectful game. And for the first time in a very long time, I thought Son had an all right game as well. Mm-hmm. And I think we deserved to win that 4-1 because we took our chances. And like I said at the start, it just shows again that this team is made for direct counter-attacking football.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to know that in the same weekend that we found Angus, we found Son as well. So 2 bits of good news for the Spurs fan base there. One Arsenal fan being found, and the captain of the football club decided that he was a professional footballer for the first time in a long time. Just before we go on to talk in a bit more detail, please do smash that like button, people. Come on, you know the drill now. There's over 225 of you in here. There's 43 likes. That is absolutely, let me find a kind word, shit. It's absolutely shit. Come on, people, smash that like button, and please subscribe to all the gentlemen on my channel. Please subscribe to the Hotspur Hood for Danny. Please subscribe to the Dan List for Dan as well, and please subscribe to this channel and my second channel, FHTV Plus. Thank you very much, guys. Look, first off, Lubo alluded to it just now, guys, and anyone can take this and run with it. It did look in the first 10 minutes as though, what is happening here? It's like we weren't at the races. Another team that were just running through us at will in the midfield. Delap was absolutely bullying Archie Gray off the ball. Everything was coming back to our centre halves because we couldn't keep hold of the ball in the middle. Was anyone worried at that 10-minute stage, or did we always know that it was just going to blow over?
We got caught cold, didn't we, really, in that first 5 minutes? And we were lucky not to concede a goal. But after that period, the game settled down and we had some possession. And we started working it out to Son on the left. And we were clinical, weren't we? And as I said, Dan, you said that Son had a better game. And he did, didn't he? He made 2 assists. Johnson was in the right place at the right time to get the goals. And I felt the game was comfortable when we were 2-0 up. Ipswich lost a bit of confidence. Not much was going on in the game. But then, obviously, later on in that first half, it was just a long punt upfield, wasn't it, from the goalie? And they won the second balls, managed to get the ball on the ground. And there you go. Opened us up. A cut back from Jack Clark. Isn't he the player who used to play for us, right?
Yeah.
I think that Jack Clark. Yeah. He put a ball into Hutchinson and it was a good finish. So 2-1 at half time. That was kind of, we weren't amazing, but we were calm.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear all of that. I was just sorting something out with the dogs. Yeah, look, I mean, anyone else? I mean, the first, welcome, Marlon. I think he's got lost on the way to Last Word on Spurs. He didn't up on my show. Sorry about that, mate. If you need to dip out, you let me know.
I think we're touching on what Dan said about Son. I think what was good, you looked at it and you thought he's got Ben Godfrey marking him. Ben Godfrey's a decent fullback. He's a decent defender. And he made mincemeat of him yesterday. He really did.
Was he a fullback or was he a centre back?
He's a defender. Either way, you're in a defend. You got a striker running at you, where you're in the middle or you're on the right. You got to deal with it correctly. And suddenly turned him inside out. But I've got to say, I know you'd be disappointed in me if I didn't. Great ball from Gray to Son for that led to the first goal. And we're away, and from that moment onwards, there was only one team that was ever going to win it. Not the greatest of performances, but good enough. Listen, we're not in a good place this season generally. It's not going to change, particularly playing this system. So when you go away from home and you win 4-1, you take it, and it's for me it's a positive. Nothing will change in terms of challenging domestically. Nothing will change until we change manager. So for the rest of the season, you go away from home, you counter attack, you score 4 goals. For me, that's a positive. And there were quite a few positives in there as well. The header.
Ian, were you confident at half time? Were you comfortable? Did you say? Because I wasn't.
I was. We gave away. Dan Sam got caught in possession. But apart from that, Dan, from the 7th minute when they hit the post, apart from that, they did very little. There was, we were in control, and the whole of the second half we were in control. They hardly touched the ball the second half.
Yeah, but when it goes into the second half, Ian, I think most of us are just still nervous because of we have been terrible. I think we've been, worst or second worst in the Premiership, in the Premier League, about going 1-0 up and then losing the game, basically. We're either worst or second worst, one or the other. And
up against Chelsea. So
Ipswich are poor, we know that, and Man U are shocking, we know that. And Brentford is never an easy game, but again, you can only win who you're playing against. At the end of the day, and that's 3 results. You can't complain with that. No. Yes, there's a lot that needs to change, and you can still blatantly see it. Like at Man U, if they would have had better strikers, in my opinion, we'd have lost that game. But 3 wins are 3 wins at the end of the day.
We're all critical, aren't we? We've been very critical, and we do have to praise the team and the manager when we get 3 wins in a row. We do have to have some balance there. Doesn't mean we don't doubt everything. But we got to praise when praise is due, and it was good.
Credit's due, isn't it?
Yeah. 3 wins in a row is good, whoever it's against. But
that's
it, really.
Dan, if Spurs win on Wednesday, Ange will get manager of the month.
Oh gosh!
I'll lay off, man.
I tell you what. If we're going to talk about that a bit later. I'll come to you next, Marlon. But if we're talking about Man City Spurs a bit later. But if Man City play like they did today against Liverpool, we're going to need someone to do what Virgil van Dijk did all game today, which was shut out every bit of danger. But look, Marlon, welcome back to the show. How are you, buddy?
Good, my brother. How is everybody? I feel like it's been a long time since I've streamed with any of you lot.
It is, mate. We're always here.
I know. I'm so bad, but now I'm back. I'm back here, ready to
good. So Marlon, last time we spoke, I think you said to me, Sav, I'm finally there. I'm finally Ange out. And since then, we've won 3 massive Premier League games. How are you feeling about Spurs at the moment? We've won 3 Premier League games that we needed to stop the rot. Mixed in with that has been really 2 very disappointing cup exits. How are you feeling with everything at the moment?
Do you know what? I'm on the fence with Ange a little bit. I don't know why I'm on the fence with Ange. I'm just kind of sitting there going, I want to see how this season ends before I really make my decision. Because there are certain aspects I get he is good at, and there's a lot that I get he's not great at. But look, I was there at Brentford, and I've been there at Ipswich. I was there yesterday as well. And I have to say, apart from probably the first 5 minutes, it was comfortable. Like I heard Dan say earlier after halftime, which look, as a Spurs fan, we're always going to be nervous, but I agree with Ian. Ipswich didn't really lay a glove on us. Didn't do anything that I thought I'm going to be concerned here. The only thing I had was let's take Godfrey, because I said to Ash, it was me and Ash were there, and I said to Ash, I know exactly what's going to happen at halftime, and I said I'm going to be fuming. I said that Godfrey will get taken off because he was Ipswich's weak link, and we literally exploited it. At the time, I didn't like Archie Gray on the right side. I thought every time they were aiming for him, and the lap was just getting past him and making it look so easy. And I said he needs to swap Danso over with Archie Gray. However, when Ipswich made their change in that at halftime, it seemed to be that they just stopped going down Archie Gray. Like Archie Gray was they saw it. Archie Gray was the weak link defensively. On the ball, he was all right, but then Danso picked up in the second half, which I think then counteracted Archie Gray being actually quite weak defensively. And I said, that's the difference between two managers. Like he's gone out there and said, you lot go and sort it out in the second half. And Ipswich saw the danger. And then the offside happened, and it just completely brought the game back in our favour. But at not one point, I really thought Ipswich were going to do anything constructive against us. Yeah.
It's easy to see, Marlon, isn't it, why they've won 3 games out of 20.
Yeah, it was quite obvious. Yeah.
26, 27. Yeah, listen, I agree. I agree with your assessment there. I agree with what Dan was saying. We always go into games with Spurs fans.
Yeah.
I've never, ever been 1 goal ahead as a Spurs fan and not felt worried. It's Tottenham. It's what they've done to us for many years. But I do feel like yesterday was a gimme. I said that before the game. I said I thought we'd win 4-1. We did win 4-1. But, gentlemen, we've got tougher tests to come. Yes, for me, those 3 wins in a row, we can all get excited about that. For me, that was an absolute necessity to stop the rot. We were 16th in the league, so we had to win those 3 games. Now we've got 4 tougher games in a row. We've just played 3 teams who were bottom half when we played them. 2 of the teams we've just beaten in terms of Man United. Go on, put that in. Good goal. Vlahovic just scored for Juventus. Really good goal. Sorry, sidetracked. If you then look at Ipswich Town and Man United are in the bottom 3 for form for the last 5, 10, 15 and 20 games of the season so far. That's great. Now we play Man City, who are top 4, right? We play Bournemouth, who are what, 5th or 6th. We play Fulham, who are 9th or whatever they are. We play Chelsea, who are 6th or 7th. We've got 4 teams that are now in the top 4, lads, in the top 10. Is this going to be the bigger measure of what we are as a football team as opposed to Ipswich and Man United?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But at least we're getting players back now, which is giving him options. So
Can I ask you, Lubo? I'll add on to that. Who's come back in the last 3? I know we've had players coming back. Who's come back that's made that bigger difference other than really Vicario?
I just think, Sav, that having these players back makes life a little bit easier. It gives him options to change things off the bench. You know, we had players coming on yesterday, and we had you look at the bench against Everton, there was something like 7 kids on there. Yeah. You look at the bench yesterday, and it's much better. And you know, when you lose players, it does have an impact. It does have an impact. You know, it impacts every team.
Yeah, but
sure.
Ian, it's easier if he wants to make it easier. He is a big part of the reason why we got into that situation. He's the big part of the reason. I actually blame him 100% for the fact that we had no out-and-out centre-backs, basically, because he should never have played 2 half-fit centre-backs against bloody Chelsea.
Absolutely.
the way he's burnt out Porro, the way he's burnt out Kulu, and also Adoji, that's all down to him. So saying that he's got players back to use now, anyone would think that's sensible. But if he just goes back to the way he's done the first half of the season, basically, it's pretty irrelevant who's on the subs bench because you don't bloody use them enough anyway. This is where it's going to be interesting to see if he does start changing the team around, rotating on a more regular basis. For me, anyway.
Well, Christ, let's hope he's learned, because if he hasn't, I mean, he's just got to be completely stupid, isn't he?
How many times have we said that?
Well,
let's hope he's learned.
You do have to look at yesterday and go, the fact he decided to swap, he left Spence on, who was blatantly our best fullback at the moment, but he did take off, he did drop Porro, which we've all been asking for ages, and then he did only give you Doggy 60 minutes. He did bring on others as well, which for me, this has been a big criticism of Ange. I think he's been, I completely agree with you. I think he was the downfall of why we did have so many injuries. But seeing us go through this period, it is going to be interesting over the next few weeks, because yesterday he showed to me that he is going to start using the squad slightly better. However, we'll see when we have to get the big games against Manchester City. We'll see when we get the Europa League on Thursday and playing Sunday to see if he's learned anything. And I just go by the last two games and I'll go, yes, he has for now, but it depends on how critical the games become in the next few weeks, depending on whether if we know if Ange has changed. Because going through November, December, and then parts of January with that squad, he must have learned something. Because if he hasn't, I'll be sitting there with you guys. I'll be like, let's get rid of him. But at the present moment, he has shown me in the last couple of games that maybe that he's learned something slightly different.
It's a big maybe, isn't it? Because there's been about 5 games I can name where I'm like, yeah, he's got the idea. It looks like he's actually got the idea. And then he goes back to Ange and wonders why he gets cooked for 3 games straight. Yeah. I mean, it's blatantly obvious that we look better as a counter-attacking direct football team. And when we've won actually quite big games that way, you'd think, yeah, he's learning. And then all of a sudden, back to square one again. It's how many times have we all, as a few people said, like, okay, it looks like he's getting the idea now. And then back to square one again.
Dan, we'll be laughing when we get to the midweek game and Adogi's left back, Porro's right back, and Spence's back on the bench, because this manager doesn't know what I will laugh if that happens. I mean, look, guys, we are starting to get players back. What I don't subscribe to, though, is that's the reason we beat a really crap Man U and a really crap Ipswich. I really don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to the fact that we couldn't beat this really poor Wolves team with the players we had. I don't believe that we couldn't beat this Leicester team with the players we had. I do find that the injury excuse is now really being flogged. It's being flogged massively, the injury excuse. But we have got players coming back, and we will see if he has learned his lesson. Guys, I want to move it forward to Wednesday night's game. A big up. Look, we've even got. Look at. I've given you Marlon and Danny Kiriakou all in the same night. It's like a who's who of difficult people to get hold of here. Look, big up to everyone, and thank you very much to Super Spurs TV in the chat, who has gifted 5 Football Heritage TV memberships. I've already seen in the chat that many of you have said thank you, and if I'm not wrong, is that you, Blaine? I think that's your channel, right? Let me know. If not, apologies, but big up to Super Spurs TV. Really appreciate that. Guys, by the way, tonight we've had not 1 subscriber, which is absolutely shit. And we've only got 92 likes. There's nearly 375 of you in here. Right now, before we keep going, can we please smash that button? It's like revenue. Okay, it keeps YouTubers going. Okay, so please do smash that button. Welcome, Danny. Guys, I want to move the conversation to Wednesday night against Man City. I'm seeing a lot of Spurs fans that are already saying guaranteed 3 points. It's going to be an easy game. I'm not so sure, the way I watched Man City play today against Liverpool, yes, they done them on the transition, but they absolutely dominated the game, and chance after chance, cross after cross. and we don't have Konate or Van Dijk. I don't know what you guys think. I'm really worried about Wednesday. What are you guys thinking?
I don't see us getting anything on Wednesday, to be honest. I think they'll be too. I honestly think they'll be too good for us. I think it'll be a tight game. I think they'll win by the odd goal, but I just don't see us getting anything. I mean, the only way we're going to do it is if basically Vicario has a blinder and we're clinical in front of goal. Apart from that, I just think they'll have too much for us.
Well, it's the best. If there's any time we've ever wanted to play Man City, it is this season.
Yeah.
But then we all know that if anyone can sort of, out of just absolutely nowhere, go and win 15 games on the trot or whatever, or 12, whatever you want to call it, Man City are more than capable of doing it.
Sure.
Do you think they're capable of doing it this year, though? If we look at their whole season as a whole, are City the same powerhouse, or are they just going through a period that we saw Pep go through in his first season at City?
I think they're going through that stage now of, I call it a mini transition sort of thing, because their one ain't going to take 5 years. I think they've already got the players who are going to go, and they've already got other players who they want in. Otherwise, Pep wouldn't have signed another 2-year contract.
Yeah, of course.
He's already got it, and maybe they won't do it next season, but they'll do it the season after, I'll bet 99%.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm more talking
they've
about...
still got the capability. They've still got the players on the pitch with the capability to do it. I think it's more of a mental thing at City now, where it's got to that point where it's almost a bit stale, where they've pretty much done anything and everything and pretty much everything you can ask.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few of the players that haven't quite got the same passion in it, and they're almost complacent because of how dominant they have been. But again, if anyone is able to just step it up out of nowhere and go and win 2 games on the trot, I still think City are more than capable.
But also, like the team that kind of has their number a lot of the times is Tottenham. And if there's one game that you'd like, that out of the blue, Tottenham are going to have a really good game against, it's Man City. Like, we
are their bogey team. I agree.
Yeah, we are the bogey team. We've beaten them more than anyone else in the Premier League has in history. So in English football history. So it's the one game where you just don't. It's hard to call because you just don't know what Tottenham and what Man City is going to turn up on the day. If Tottenham do turn up on day, they've got every chance of beating City. No problem. And I say,
I'll tell you my worry.
Going to do it, but go on, Sav.
I'll tell you my worry. My worry is when I watched today. It's really weird because I said I just did a watch along for it, and I didn't think City were bad at all. I thought City were very good. They moved the ball quickly. They got in great positions. Liverpool, my critique of Man City is they don't shoot. Like the number of times where they get it 20 yards out and you're like, have a dig, but they're trying to score the perfect goal. But what Liverpool do is something that we're not capable of doing. Liverpool did not let Man City run through them in the middle of the park. Liverpool literally sat in and had 3 or 4 midfielders sitting in front of the back 4, so there were no gaps. Guys, we know we don't do that against anybody. We know we will have the gaps in front of the midfield. That's my worry going into that game, is that while City aren't the City of old, we did just see them smack up Newcastle 4-0, saw them dominate the game today against Liverpool. I don't know. I just get the feeling that this is going to be, please don't all shoot me at once. I got the feeling this is going to be Dr. Tottenham, because they looked like they were going through the gears today. They looked like they were stepping up, and Liverpool, I thought, were phenomenal at the back. I thought they were absolutely phenomenal. We're not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think we're good enough to beat Manchester City right now. We're not playing well enough. But it's like Danny said, it's that team, isn't it, that we always seem to get a result against. So, I mean, you can't call it. You can't call it. I mean, Man City should beat us.
But City I think what, Dan made a great point where he goes, mentally, City are just not there at the moment. And the one place that they don't like coming to is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Pep always says it's the one ground he kind of fears when he has to come there. So, I see it as, let's go back to the Etihad. At the end, when we played them there, they were on a losing streak then, and everyone goes, no, this is when Dr. Tottenham's going to turn up. This is when that. Yeah. And we ended up putting on a show that none of us, not one of us, knew we were going to do.
Exactly that.
So I'm kind of looking at it going, if there's ever a chance that they know they've got a week, we've got, 8 days off coming up after the City game, so we're not even playing at the weekend.
Yeah,
This is probably
that's
the
right.
one game I'm looking at going, and I get Savva's point. The midfield, them going through the midfield, I saw that tonight. I was like, oh, crap, hopefully. But the one thing he also said is they don't shoot. And that's where I think that's where we're going to kind of get, if Haaland's not around and City are already going through, oh my God, this is Tottenham, I've got a strange feeling that we might end up pulling a result. And it's good to see.
The only difference is, Marlon, where I said they don't shoot today was more about if a team is playing a low block against you and they're not leaving gaps, you've got to try shooting. My concern is that we will give the ball away so many times on the transition, like we did to Man U, like we did to Ipswich, like we did to Brentford. That's the difference for me, is that if the pace in behind of Savio, Marmouche and Doku, I mean, Doku today, I thought Doku was accepted. Did you see how many times he put Trent Alexander-Arnold in a different postcode? Like, I'm worried now about...
I trust Spence. I trust Spence if he plays there.
He's not going to play Spence, is he?
We don't know.
He's going to play Porro.
You can't.
You see my point, right? I just get the feeling that if we were capable of doing what Liverpool did today, I'd say, yeah, it's us all day long. But I've just watched that Ipswich team in the first 10 minutes should have been 2-3-0 up. Like,
agreed.
That worries me that if that's City on a bigger pitch, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, right? I'm just trying to.
So how do you think Ange is going to approach this game then?
Same way always.
From that point of view. But look, he changed it up in the cup game, didn't he? In the cup game, he changed it up, right?
The question is with Ange, and when we've actually played counter-attacking football, was that actually Ange's idea? Or was that actually the team we were playing just played us into such a role that we had to play deep at the back, and the wing backs couldn't even invert because they had so much pressure on them, that it was a bit of a natural thing that we had to do? That is the thing that I always question, because in the next game, we always go back to the inverted wing backs, this, that, and all the other crap. So was that Ange, or is it the fact that the other team made us play like that? Time will tell. We've beat City when we have been the worst team on the pitch by a million miles, when they've had like 90% domination, shots left, right, and centre, and everything. And City, like we all agree here, City just don't
us in the league at home. Have they beat us in the league at the new stadium at home? I don't think they have. They beat us
last season.
Last season.
Wasn't that was that in the league though? Was that in the league or was that a cup?
Remember the Arsenal, the whole falling out.
It was in the league.
And it fell falling out with Ange, but we kind of
in the cup.
In the sun.
What was the score? Was it like it was like a 1-0, wasn't it? Or 2-0?
2-0. 2-0. Yeah, they beat us 1-0 and 2-0 in a row. That was the first time they beat us.
Yeah, it's like I have this feeling it's either going to be like a Man City destruction or a Spurs narrow win.
Yeah,
it's like I can't call it. I can't say which one I think it's going to be. It's just one. That's what I think is going to happen. It'll be one or the other.
If you don't use the inverted wing back, then we stand much better of a chance. Because I think as soon as we're not playing inverted wing backs, I think we look, call it a random number, but I think we look 20% more stable at the back straight away. One thing I've been saying about Ange is if he would just sort out that defence, I think that's 20-30% of his actual squad problem sorted out. Because that has been, I think, one of our biggest problems since he's been here, and that's inverted wing backs. I know I've always gone on about it, but I think that is one of his prime massive problems.
I agree. It's also that, Dan, but it's also the issue is that he doesn't have that type of midfielder that we're all crying out for. We were saying this earlier on Savva's show earlier, that we need that kind of really combative, aggressive leader in the midfield. Like someone who can spray the ball, who's got good range of passing, short passing, long passing, controls the midfield, controls the youngsters who are playing next to him. We need someone like that, like an Edison at Atalanta, or someone.
You mean like Archie Gray?
Archie Gray. He had to get that in, didn't he? But we that's what
I've said before Lubo does.
I know, he was good. It was on the tip of his tongue, wasn't it? It's just
I could see him. Great.
Yeah, I think that I agree, Dan. I think it is that is also a big problem. And do you know what? I've said this on Savs earlier. if Ange drops Spence for this game, I'm Ange out. I'm not even joking. I am Ange out. I'm Ange out. I'm
Danny,
completely Ange out.
I don't see it. I don't see it. Spence
If he does, if he starts Porro and Udogie right in that game, I'm Ange out. I'm not even joking. He has to start Spence and Udogie. That is it. He has to start them two. If he does, I don't trust him anymore. Completely. I'm done. I'm literally done.
I mean, I must tell you something. Doku actually turned up today. He has been shit this season. He has been compared to where he played to how he played today. His performance, he has tailed right off. So, yeah, if he's
all of City have tailed right off, right? I mean, I feel like we do this with individual players at City. I don't think everyone at City is like 50% of what they were last season, right? But if that Doku turns up today, my worry is Liverpool always had Konate or Van Dijk covering for the fullbacks.
Yeah.
Those two are so strong. We don't have that with Gray and Danso. We don't have that. Our defence isn't close enough to each other.
They had 16 shots today, City, 8 on target. Yeah, it wasn't like Liverpool held them back and defended fantastic and etc. etc. Liverpool defended well. They never looked in any trouble. In fairness, Liverpool really didn't look. City had an awful lot of the ball, but Liverpool really didn't look. They didn't look in any trouble, did they? Particularly.
No, that's my point. But Lubo, can we all agree on this, guys? We know Man City will have the football Wednesday night. We know Man City will dominate the ball. You know that Nico Gonzalez, if he plays, will have all of the ball. He'll dictate everything. For me, it's can we be solid enough? Because look, I agree with Dan what he said about the defence, but I'll add to Dan's 20-30% at the back, and I'll add 20-30% on, I think the biggest issue at Tottenham Hotspur is the midfield. I keep seeing praise for how good Bergvall is and how good Bentancur played and all this, but at the same time, I keep seeing a midfield that is so easy to run through. I don't understand how there's so much praise for the midfielders. That's my concern for Wednesday night, is how easy we will be to run through in that midfield. It's like, look at Liverpool. Look at the Liverpool game. We had 3 midfielders in there that shouldn't have been run through, and Liverpool just picked us apart at will. That's my concern.
Sav, before I came on, I watched the highlights because I'd literally watched it in real time yesterday, and I hadn't seen the highlights of anything. And for the first ball, for Ipswich's first attack in the first minute, the ball's come. Gray's hit a ball. It's been cut out, and the one guy has gone through 2 players, burst past the third, just walked through midfield, and hit a diagonal ball to Delap. And that just shows you we were just totally wide open.
Yeah, we always are, though, Lucas. That's not true, is it?
No, but
out of question.
If we play the same way as we did against City in both games earlier this season, then we will be playing much deeper and we'll be counter-attacking. And, against City, you've got to literally play 2 banks of 4, all very close to each other, closing down the space. Agreed. Because if you don't, they'll take us apart.
Out of question then, like for everybody, where have we been opened up since Ange's been here? Where have we been opened up the most? Is it down the middle? I know it's both of them, but the most. Is it down the middle where the ball's going over the top or straight through when the midfield lose it and it is a problem there? Or because we've got 2 inverted wing backs and there's no person there to cover it? Where have we been opened up the most? For me, it's the fullbacks, but what's everyone else thinking?
If you look at the fullbacks, because they're too far up, and you can't expect Romero and Van der Ven or whoever's there to cover the whole width. But most teams, I'll tell you that, most teams go down our right rather than our left. Interestingly,
but hang on a sec, Ian. I was just asking one simple thing, like what won most. And Dan, Marlon, what would you say? Have we been opened up the most since Ange's been here because of inverted wing backs, or straight down the middle because defence is that bad?
Both.
Both, yeah. I think Ipswich's goal was a prime example of how most teams have scored against us this season.
So what would you say? What would you say it has been since Ange's been here? Have we been opened up the most because of inverted wing backs,
The
or
right
because
back area.
midfield?
The right
back area has been
Right
a
back
major
area.
issue. Yeah, the right back
Right.
area has been a major issue.
So for me, that basically says our biggest issue is the fact that we play with inverted wing backs. Yes, the midfield is a problem. No ifs or buts about it. But again, if we've been opened up the most on the wing back side because there's bloody no one there, then that's surely the first one we need to fix.
The game against Ipswich, guys, he didn't invert both fullbacks. The doggy wasn't inverted, but Spence was. Yeah. So and then the high line wasn't there. The high line wasn't
just playing
there
one
either.
inverted wing back, you can get away with it. I mean,
that's what we did.
He has been
hand.
doing that. Yeah, he has been. Doing
It goes hand in hand. If you've got your midfield is not easy to run through, you can't switch the ball as easily. Like Lubo just said there, if your midfield doesn't get run through, that ball isn't switched to the fullback area as quickly. Listen, I think they're both huge problems. I think they're both huge problems. And I'm not sitting here saying we can't beat Man City, guys. I think this is a great season to be playing Man City. All I was looking at today when they were playing was they weren't playing bad. The headline news will be Liverpool beat Man City at Man City. But I actually thought Man City were very good today, just without finishing their dinner. And then I look at us and go, we don't have that midfield discipline, and we do not have Van Dijk and Konate winning everything at the back. So I think we just got to be careful is all I'm saying.
City's major issue is probably going to be more defensively. It's going to be such an open game that I wouldn't be surprised if we're coming back after thinking it's something like 3-3. Because Manchester City defensively are not great. They haven't been for the last how many weeks. They've been conceding goals left, right, and center. I know Mbappe scored a hat-trick the other day, but it just seemed since they've put the new guy in as well, they've been making mistake after mistake. And for him, it's a baptism of fire because he's gone to play against Chelsea, Real Madrid, Liverpool, and all that, and he's had a tough time of it. And unfortunately for Manchester City at the moment, they're probably in the same boat as us, but at least they've got a couple of defenders, but they just literally have to play whoever's fit. And I think for us right now, if we play anything like we did against Ipswich, and look, at the end of the day, I don't care what we all think of Brennan Johnson, get him in front of goal, he scores a goal, but he's crap at everything else. And if he gets in a position against City like we have been doing, he we're likely to put it in the back of the net. And I don't even like our front three, but I can see us scoring goals against City I saw that game today and I went, yes, crap, City attacking going forward will do us. But at the same time, I saw points of them defensively today where I was like, you know what, we can get at them as well. There's going to be points in that game where I can see when Jed Spence pushes forward, if Madders, it depends on where Madders gets on the ball in certain areas. Kulusevski, if he's given the time, there will be certain times of that game, as we have seen, that we will be able to hurt them as well. So this is probably the first time I've gone into a City game going, I'm not as scared as I have been, even though we've had such a good record as I have been before. I'm not going to sit there and say we're going to smash them because I don't know, like you guys said earlier, I just don't know which two teams are going to turn up on Wednesday. But if it has been anything like it has been in the past, I think Spurs can do it. I've got more confidence going into this one than I've ever done, but it's Pep, and that will always be in the back of my mind. It is Pep, it is Manchester City, and at any time they can just switch it. But it's just dependent on when that whistle blows, what Spurs do.
But Marlon, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. They play the high line. There's going to be a lot of space. But do you have confidence in our forwards right now?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, I do.
Against City?
I do.
Not against Ipswich and
no.
Man United team. Do you have confidence against doing it against City?
I do, because I think City
and everybody
right
else.
If we were playing Bournemouth, it'd be a completely different answer. But I actually do believe that we have enough attacking intent against City to give them problems. I really do, and that's not me. And I've not been a fan of the front three all season. But from what I watched of City against Real Madrid, what I've watched against, and I'm not saying we are those teams, but I'm looking at it going, we can cause City problems. Our front three can look. Depends on.
I don't have confidence in that forward line. No, I'm sorry, I don't.
You see what? I'm with you, Marlon, on this one. I don't rate that front line at all either, but scoring goals hasn't been a problem for us against any team.
And this is what I'm saying, because the fact that
So I'm with you. I'm with you on this one.
Yeah, the fact that we didn't even play well yesterday, but yet somehow we managed to score 4 goals. We still managed to score against Man United. The game against Brentford, again, we didn't play well, and we're still managing to score goals with this front three that nobody likes. So I'm looking at going into City and going, yes, they are good, but I'm looking. This is not the best City defense that we're going to go up against. And the fact we went and scored 4 yesterday, and we all agreed that Ipswich are not great. And I'm putting City's defense right now. I don't think they're the best. And they've always been quite reliant on how solid they have been defensively. Ederson is completely not the same goalkeeper that we have watched for the last few seasons as well.
He's leaving, isn't he?
In his head, he wanted to go last season, and you can see it with them. And I know we're talking about City's attack, but I think we can do something. We're not as bad. Look, we are 12th for a reason, but we're not as bad as.
Do you know my worry, Marlon?
Going forward. Yeah, go on.
My worry is that Brentford had something like 22 shots against us or something.
Yeah, they did.
You know, even Ipswich had more shots than us yesterday. They had like 16, 17 shots. Man United had something like 22 shots or 18 shots or something. My worry is I think Man City will end up having 25 plus attempts at our goal.
They will do.
And my worry is if you give enough chances to Xerxes, Højlund, and those types of players, I think you're going to be all right. I think if you give enough chances to Marmoush, Foden, Savio, De Bruyne, Silva, whoever it is, I just worry. Yes, we've won 3 games in a row, but we are being carved wide open. It's not like we've won 3 games in a row and we look rock solid and we're playing well. I think we're getting carved wide open by everyone. That's my worry. The positive is that Man City, other than the 4 against Newcastle, aren't the Man City that we used to know that would rip a team apart 4-5-0.
But Manchester City, when we beat them 4-0, had 23 shots against us. They had 23.
Yeah, sure. Listen, I'm not
and this is the thing. And this is why I'm kind of like going, look, I agree, and they could end up opening us up. They could. I'm not going to say they ain't. But we went and beat them 4-0 at the Etihad. They had 23 shots against us and 5 on target. So, and this time they're doing it without Haaland. And as Savva, you said earlier, they just didn't shoot. And that was the biggest problem today for them. They just wasn't shooting. And
with us, though, they won't need to shoot from 20 yards out. They'll be through on goal. That's my worry.
They just walk through.
Look at the Villa game. This is my worry, right? This is my worry, guys. When you look at the Villa game, right, and you look at the Liverpool game, let's look at the 2 good teams that we've played. I'm not going to talk about Brentford, Ipswich, and Man United. Let's talk about the 2 good teams we've played in that time, Villa and Man City, right? Villa and Liverpool. Both teams did the same thing to us. Won the ball in midfield, one pass through our non-existent midfield, and Rodgers was through on goal. Yeah? Watkins was through on goal. No, it wasn't Watkins, was it? No, Watkins didn't play, did he? Rodgers was through on goal. Ramsey was through on goal. Marlon was through on goal. Bailey was through on goal. Asensio, Rashford. Same with Liverpool. One pass through our midfield in that game. Salah was through. Elliott was through. Nunez was through. This is the difference for me. If we do that against Man City, Gonzalez or Kovacic, whoever plays in that midfield role, will pick that pass. And this is the difference for me. I reckon they end up going through on our goal about 9 times. That's just one-on-ones through. Just putting that out there.
I feel with City, I feel with teams like City, when it comes to being up front, you need to apart from make your chances, you need to take chances. Because a team playing against a team like City, Liverpool, whatever, you can't just walk it in the back of the bloody net. And I feel we don't take enough chances in front of goal. And it's another thing I've repeated over and over again, that I feel we take more chances in front of our own bloody goal with the passing we do. Obviously, we keep it solid at the back and as solid as we can in midfield. But I feel up front, we need to take more chances, more long shots. See a chance, take it. And that's one thing I think our strike force severely lacks, taking chances in front of goal. We seem to only want to shoot when there's a 80% chance as such. We seem to more take that pass that could lead to something instead of saying, do you know what, stuff it, bang it, have a shot. And I feel at certain games you need to do that more.
I think if we had like a Mourinho in charge or a Conte, I'd be more confident. But because of Ange, I worry massively.
Yeah, look, guys, I'm not saying we can't beat them. I just my worry is it's okay to play wide open and get away with it against crap teams like, I can't believe I'm ever going to say this, Man United and Ipswich. It's fine. You just can't play that wide open. We saw this isn't me just waffling. This is we've seen evidence in our last 5 games. We've seen evidence of this. The 2 better teams open us up for fun, right? And both those 2 teams finished their dinner. The crap teams couldn't finish. And let's be brutally honest. I think Man U should have beaten Spurs. I think Man U had so many good chances to wrap that game up. City will not miss all those chances. So I'm just saying he's got to do something different in midfield. He cannot be that wide open against Man City. Doesn't matter whether they're off ball.
Last 3 league games, we've conceded 51 shots, 15 on target, and only 2 goals.
Yeah, but it's the level of opposition, Ian.
Because the level of opposition isn't very good, Ian.
Well, I'll tell you something. That was a bloody good result of Brentford because they're no mugs at home. As all the top clubs can agree on. You know,
sure, but they're a mid-table team, aren't they? They're a mid-table football team.
City ain't Brentford, are they?
No, of course not. And I said at the start that I think City will win it, but I don't think they'll take us to beat. I don't think they'll take us apart.
We don't beat good teams, guys. We do not beat good teams.
Yes, we do. Yes, we beat City 4-0.
Once, other than that, what else? Who else? Who else have we beaten? Villa, that's it. But regularly, we don't play well against decent teams. We don't all season. The evidence is there in the results. Even in the Europa League, we've struggled against average teams. We don't play well against good teams generally. Yes, the odd result. But come on, guys. We don't.
In that Europa.
Well, the last 5 games shows you that, Dan. If you look at the sample size in the last 5 games, we've beaten the 3 teams that are bottom half. The 2 teams we've played that are up there chasing Champions League football, have torn us to pieces. And there's no middle ground with it. There's no middle ground with it. I agree, Dan. I think that I'm not saying we can't get a result, but I think we're going to have a lot of heart in mouth moments. Because we will be wide open. Look at Villa. How many goals should Aston Villa have scored against Tottenham? How many? It should have been a massacre. It should have been a massacre. We were absolutely dreadful, wide open. And the worrying thing, guys, is even when they got their goal it was the first minute, wasn't it, Villa? Even when they got their goal, Ange didn't adapt and go, you know what? Let's cut that off from happening again. He just went, go on, keep doing it, Villa. And City will bury us if we do that. They will.
But Sav,
another thing as well. Go on.
Sorry, City may well force us back to play as a counter-attacking team, which is what happened in the previous 2 games. So that's why Spurs could be a little bit more confident. You know, listen, we're not going to get much of the ball. Liverpool only saw 34% today against City, so we'll probably be in the 20s. So it's going to be a question of major concentration, keeping it very tight, players playing together, playing in partnerships, doubling up, helping each other defensively. Listen, we're where we are. We're mid-table. That's where Spurs are as a team with this manager, unfortunately.
That midfield, they've got to have an excellent game. That midfield against City, they have to have a fantastic game to get anything, because that's our big problem as well. I think the midfield is just too open.
I think you'll bring the
When did our midfield last play? When did we last have a game in midfield where you went, cool, that was good?
The problem I would say Brentford away.
Do you think?
I was
the
reason why was because I thought because Basuma and Bentancur, there was a situation where I was looking at it because I was really worried, and what happened was every time Bentancur would lose it or get bypassed, as he does, Basuma was there to cover him, and it was the first time I'd actually seen those 2 back each other up. Before that, I've never seen it. I can openly admit I've never seen it. But
do you think he'll do that? Do you think he'll do that Wednesday, Marlon?
No, I don't think. I think he'll go for Bergvall and possibly. I don't know. Possibly Madders and Kulu will be on the right. I reckon he'll do that. And I don't know. he'll go quite similar to how he went at the Etihad, I reckon. But that was the last time I could honestly say our midfield where I was actually impressed with the way them two played. But apart from that, I do agree that the midfield, like the whole, I can't remember the last time we've had a great performance from both our midfielders in the middle.
The other thing also, Marlon, is that with Brentford, everything, because we were strong in the middle, the ball was pushed down the wings the whole time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they couldn't. And where Spence, and that's why Spence was so good and got man of the match, because he coped with Mbeumo so much that in the end, Brentford had no outlet. Damsgaard was caught out. Visa couldn't get the ball, and Mbeumo, like every time he tried to go up against Spence, Spence was basically winning that battle, and that was the most important thing in that game.
I mean, if you look at Spence, Spence has quietened down Salah and Mbeumo in the last few games that he's played. I mean,
well, you better play him then, isn't he? You better play him.
He's got to play him. He's got to play him. And I agree with Danny. I'm not going to be impressed if he's not starting.
And I've got to say, I don't rate Doku as good as Mbeumo or Salah. Don't think he's anywhere near as good as those two.
Yeah, he's also got about 8 years on those two. Like, I think when people talk about Doku and Savva, I think we've got to remember they're like 20-year-old wingers. Like, I feel like everyone talks about them because they're at City, like they're seasoned pros. But listen, look, guys, I'm not saying we can't get anything. As I said, I'll go back to the beginning of this segment. I think it's a great time to be playing Man City. All I'm saying is what I saw from them today was, if that was against us, I don't think we're capable of doing what Liverpool did. That there's a huge difference, right?
Yeah, but we're not
with the midfield thing.
We're not as good as Liverpool. We're not Liverpool.
With
we're
the
like,
midfield problem,
one of the best teams in the country. Like, there's not many teams.
The best team in the country.
Yeah, the best team. Shame on you, Arsenal. But but let's look at it. We can't really and no one is going to do what Liverpool did to Manchester City, probably apart from Arsenal, because they've got Gabriel and Saliba. But apart from that, no one else is really going to do that, because no one else has got good enough defense or are going to be as good as what Liverpool are. So we have to kind of look at it and go, how have Manchester City played against the Nottingham Forests, the other teams that have probably got quite similar to us in that sense, that will give up chances? But it's just one of those at the moment. Like, City may have just upped their game because it was Liverpool, and they knew the way, they had a game plan, they knew the way Liverpool were going to play, and they tried, and at the end of the day, they came up against a brick wall like they did against Arsenal as well a couple of weeks ago. But we have to just look at it and go, what are our strengths, and can we get our strengths out on Wednesday to basically give harm to City? Because if we start worrying about what our weaknesses are, as we do in certain games, we'll just fall apart like Spurs normally do. But I'm not going to sit there and say I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not worried about Manchester City. But at the same time, I get everyone's reservations about Ange, but this is just the one game, from what I saw today, that we can hurt City. It's not like to say we can't. Come speak to me.
Is Marlon, is that because it's City and we've got a good record against City, or are you really truly believing in what you're saying? No,
I believe in what I'm saying because of what I've seen of City in the last month or so. City, every time we think City are going to progress, they went and got smashed by Arsenal. They didn't really play well against Real Madrid. And I get these. I get the teams that I'm naming. Yeah, I'm getting. I know what teams I'm naming.
If you actually look at City, if you actually look at Man City in the last 3 months. In the last 2 months, it's Madrid, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Everyone else they've been beating, and this is the difference for me. I don't think we've got the solid base that Liverpool and Arsenal have got. I'm going to leave Madrid out of it. I don't think we've got the solid base that Liverpool and Arsenal have got to shut them out for 90 minutes. I'm seeing Ipswich have more shots than us in a game. Ipswich,
you see,
right? We should be going to Ipswich. They should be having 4 shots in a game.
Sav, do you want to
the issue with midfield? I think the midfield issue is fixable because I don't think we've got terrible midfielders. We obviously haven't got great midfielders, but I think it all comes down to Ange again on that one. Same as the wing-back problem. If he would just play him as normal wing-backs, you'd see significantly better players, in my opinion. Great. And the way we play our midfielders is out of sync. We do not play them to what they're good at. And Basuma, he's had terrible games and everything, but I do feel for him in a way because he's almost expected to do 3 bloody jobs. And there ain't many players that can do that. And again, Basuma wasn't wanted by Liverpool for 70 million for no reason. He wasn't the biggest midfielder in the Premier League, bar the top 4 or 5 teams, for a reason, the most wanted. And he's been very incapable. I know that, inconsistent. But again, he's another one, I think. Play him to his advantages, you would see a significantly better player. We don't play Bentancur to what he's best at. Sarr, what is he best at? I don't know. I really don't.
He runs around a lot.
Yeah, but I think it is another situation. If he would just change his tactics on what he actually wants the players to do in midfield, you could see part of the problem fixed. But where he's not going to play with a DM, it leaves it down to a back 2 anyway. It's a bit of a tricky situation. So who do we go without? Do we go without a 10 to bring back a defensive midfielder, or stick as it is, basically? I know how I would play personally, and if I'm using my wing backs inverted or even overlapping so much, I would definitely play with a DM. And the closest we've got to that is Bentancur, and he's not really what we need there at the moment.
But this all goes back to the question, doesn't it? Like, when Dan, you said earlier, were we forced into playing deep, or was there a game plan against City to sit deep and attack? This is why I'm unsure. Because if Ange put a game plan together to sit deep, play on the counter attack, and then the midfielders have a better idea what they're doing. But this is it. We don't know, do we?
Well, we don't. We played deep twice though, Dan, haven't we? Interesting stats. Just looking at the goals against, you got Liverpool and Arsenal were the best 2, 21 and 23 respectively. City have let in 37. We've let in 38. So defensively this season, there's nothing between Spurs and City. We've actually scored 4 goals more. So it's interesting. They are vulnerable. City are vulnerable. They've scored. They've conceded 16 goals more than Liverpool, and there's your difference. A lot of it is goals conceded. So I think Akanji's still injured.
Ange wasn't in the squad today. My big question is this: is Haaland fit for Wednesday? Do we know?
It wasn't a good injury that he got the other week.
From what Pep said.
No. So does anyone know? Is he back? Was he left out today?
I think he'll be back.
I don't think he'll be back. I think they'll rest him because he apparently it was his knee, and that he wasn't 100% for Real Madrid. And then they said today that was it. No, he couldn't go. So I don't think he'll play on Wednesday either. Okay. If it is his knee, it could be a while.
Peter, Doku wasn't rubbish today. Come on, let's. Doku's got to sort out his final ball, but I've not seen a winger put a defender on his arse that many times in a game for years. Did you see the stat at half time, guys? Did any of you see that stat that came up on Sky Sports?
Go on.
That by half time, Doku had completed more take-ons past Trent Alexander-Arnold than any other winger in any other game against any other fullback this season. That was at half time.
This right hand side is going to be a problem, isn't it? If Porro starts, that right hand side is going to be.
That's why I said.
Okay, let's say if he does. Yeah, let's say he does. Because there's a massive chance. He rested Porro. He's played Porro every game. He's rested him for this game. He has, and this is the problem. If you're playing Johnson, if he plays Johnson, yeah, he would hopefully do better. But if you've got Johnson playing on that right, he's not going to track back, is he? So it's a big concern. That
honestly, if he does play Porro and Johnson on that right hand side, we are going to get absolutely hammered, like you said, Dan. I completely agree. Yeah. That's why I said, I swear to God, if Ange drops Spence, I'm done with him. I'm genuinely done with him because he's been our best player. He's been our best player since the second half of the season. He's literally been our best player.
Who would you have Spence marking, Doku or Savinho?
Doku,
yeah. After today,
he dealt with Salah on the left-hand side like it was no problem at one point.
Yeah, you've got to remember, these are different players to Salah. I think everyone's got to remember.
I know it is.
Salah's a very direct running towards goal player. Stavio and Doku, they want to stand you up and they want to bamboozle you with tricks and pace. And I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying I hope Ange doesn't mess this up, because Doku and Savio and Marmoush, they're running in behind. This is my worst nightmare as a Spurs fan. It's quick players in behind. It's my worst nightmare.
This is why you have to play Spence and Adogi, because they're quick, right? Yeah. You don't play Porro, because Porro will get absolutely eaten alive in this system against those two. If any one of those players, like,
I played Porro in front of Spence.
He's not going to do that. I would as well, but he's not going to do that.
When you've got someone like Porro on the back who can't defend, you're better off with playing Kulusevski on the right, because Kulusevski can actually come back and counter. He can hold the ball, even though he's been pretty poor at it for about 2 months. If you've got Johnson there, you might as well have no one there to cover you. Because
10 men on the pitch.
Basically, where we invert, he basically expects the winger to then come back and help the wing back who ain't bloody there at the time.
Maybe Johnson yesterday though, but that's why
Johnson. Maybe it is, and Johnson is worse than Timo Werner at coming back and help. At least Timo Werner tries to come back and help. Johnson 9 times out of 10 don't even come down the other end of the pitch. You might see him there once or twice maybe, but he's no backup for you on the muscle side. Whereas Kulusevski is actually a lot better at coming back and giving a bit of support to the right back, wing back, inverted wing back, whatever he is. And Kulusevski is significantly stronger, physically more capable, and he can give you that support that the wing back needs. Johnson can't do it, come love nor money.
Well, I would play. If you're going to do that, you see, I would push. I'd take Tell out. I think it'd be too big a game for him, and I'd play Johnson there with Son up front, because I think Johnson off the shoulder of the last defender is very dangerous.
Yeah,
he did it for Forest. I think. To me, he's not a right winger at all. And I wouldn't have him in a situation where his lack of work rate and lack of covering is going to make a difference. I'd have him up front.
Yeah, I see that totally. I don't think he'll do it. I worry he'll play Tell. Tell will be playing.
Tell will play, yeah.
I think the problem is if Tell plays, the ball's just going to bounce back, isn't it? But I've been thoroughly. I'll tell you what. Can we move away? Does anyone mind? Anyone got anything really important they want to say about the Man City game before we move on?
No, excellent. Dan, don't worry. Danilist, don't worry. We'll be all right.
No, I think it's all been covered. Savva, before you go to that, ask everybody who's confident of winning that game
on Wednesday.
No. Yeah, who's just quickly ran a panel.
No, I can't remember.
I'm 50-50.
I'm on the fence. I'm more on the side of that we'll get something out of it.
Yeah, we're more than capable of doing it with City, but
I genuinely think if we beat City. See, I think if we win, it's going to be like a 1-0 or 2-1, something like that. But if we lose, I think we'll get like 3-0 maybe, something like that, 3 or 4-0.
And we're really back then, aren't we? Then we're really back.
I think it's going to be either one
for a reason.
I'd be surprised if we draw that game. Honestly, I'd be.
Would
really
you take? Okay, let's
game.
put it this way: on the panel, if I offered you a draw right now, would you take it?
100%.
No, I wouldn't.
No,
because I'll tell you why. This is a really important game because all of this we're back and just turned it around. I think it's really easy to turn it around when you play two of the worst teams in the league. It's really easy to say that, right? For me, if we've turned it around, I love these phrases. I have no idea what they mean. If we've turned it around, as I said, you've got City, Fulham, Bournemouth, Chelsea. Yeah? 12 points available from that 4. Let's see us get 3 wins out of those 4 games. Then I
don't see it as an important game. I think a lot of our games aren't really that important for the right reason now. A lot of games should be important because we want to finish top 4. We want to challenge for this and that. It's not going to happen. We're going to be lucky if we finish. Yeah, we're going to be lucky if we finish 10th. And to finish 10th, 9th, whatever, we're going to need significantly amount of players to do very poor, teams to do very poor as well. For me, it's more of a yes, it's going to help winning a game for the sheer fact that it can make the players feel better. But it's pretty much irrelevant whether we win or lose the game because it's not going to really have much effect on where we finish. Because if we finish 10th or 16th,
Doesn't
what
make a
real
difference.
difference is it? It doesn't really make a difference. I think this is where he's got to get a priority right now and go all guns blazing for that Europa.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Personal opinion.
Also, Dan, do you know what?
Yeah,
Like,
but hang on. Sorry, Danny, just quickly before you come in. Sorry, but what does that actually mean when you've got an international break between now and the Europa game? I always have this debate with people. When people say we should go all guns for the Europa, what can someone explain to me rationally? What does that actually mean? What does that mean? We should go all guns for the Europa. What does that mean for the league games?
For me,
you rotate players so they're fresher. Number one, you rotate players so they're fresher for Europe. Is the first thing. Secondly, regarding injuries, you're very careful what games you bring players back into, because you've got the European games more as a priority, and a player's recovery and his reintegration into the team has got to be commensurate with when the European games are on. That's what that means. For me, that's what it means.
What does that mean for this game Wednesday, knowing that there's an international break?
It's FA Cup. It's FA Cup,
so. FA Cup, yeah. It's FA
Cup.
Not for us, it's not.
Yeah, but we've got 8 days.
That's right.
We've got 8 days for that next game.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, you know what I mean?
I'm talking on more of a bigger thing, not just the next game as such, but I'm talking about overall sort of thing. I think overall he's got do a lot more rotation for the players' health and safety as well, more than anything. But again, I think if, say, it's 2 games and we've got the Europa, I feel that's more where he should be starting. How do I put this? He should be keeping aside the main team that he wants for that Europa to make sure that they're fully fit. Obviously, we want to win as many games as they can, but I don't think anyone can really say they're as important as they have been in other leagues because we was fighting for 4th place. What are we fighting for? What are we really there for? Just to get a pride in 10th place?
But for me, I don't like this. These games don't matter. Every game matters.
This is wrong.
I didn't say it didn't matter. I didn't say it didn't matter. I said it doesn't matter as much because
I agree
one
with
way
that.
or another
we're going to. Yeah, there's nothing on the line.
Exactly. That is what I'm saying. Yes, we want to win every game, and yes, we go and win against City. It's going to help for the players as such. But for me, that's the only thing really. That is the only thing. Whereas usually we would want to win a game to try and get 4th place, 3rd place, whatever. Whereas again, I think when he gets to the points of, say, his Europa game is next or in the next 2 games, if he wants to play Porro all the time and Kulu all the time and that's 2 games I'd leave him out because I'd want him fully fit for the Europa game. I'm not saying the games aren't important. They're just not to the same standard because really, what are we fighting for?
But some fans think we can get Europe still. Do you know that? They do. After that win yesterday, some fans think we can get a European place.
What are the chances? What chances do you honestly see of that?
None.
With 9 points, Dan, with 9 points. If 8th place makes you, if 8th place is Europe, we are 9 points behind Villa.
Yeah, but we've still got to go to Anfield and Stamford Bridge, 2 places we just don't.
And West Ham, Villa,
and Villa,
and Wolves.
Forget Wolves.
So I'm not saying that all games aren't important, but if we were say how we were doing last season, this game would be very important. So would our next 2, 3, 4 sort of thing, because again, we want 4th place because that is what we'd be fighting for. But we're not fighting for that now. We're fighting for what, 10th place, and 10th or 16th. They look as bad as each other.
Fighting for pride. That's all we're fighting for now.
When it comes to we've got a Europa game next. I think certain players he would play for that league because that league game is very important for Champions League place.
Is this going to be the excuse now, Dan, for any game that we don't win? Look, what you're doing is you're setting up Lubo for the ultimate excuses in my WhatsApp group with him. So whenever we don't win a game before a European Cup time now, guys, you all know I'm right. Lubo will go, yeah, but it wasn't our best 11 because we rotated.
But again, there's losing a game. There's losing a game, and then there's losing a game. When we just
Yeah.
lose the game because we get totally dominated, or we lose the game because we're playing inverted wing backs, whatever, then that's where you like, Ange, pull your finger out. You're still not doing it right. If we lose the games because the players we put on the pitch have given it their all but still lose, people are more forgiving.
I think the team
just for me, the Europa is more important.
Yeah. We've also got 8 days. I think we've got 8 days, haven't we, from between City and Alkmaar? But after Alkmaar, it's every 3 or 4 days, isn't it? You've got Alkmaar, then Bournemouth on the Sunday, then Alkmaar again on the Thursday, then Fulham on the Sunday. So you've got 4 games in, 11 days?
But the players are back now, Lubo. I was told when the players are back, we won't lose a game.
I hope so. Then you got the international break, and then there's no game. There's no game for 2.5 weeks after that, is it? Till Chelsea.
Yeah, then the international break comes up.
I hate international breaks. They are so long and tedious. And then England beat teams like San Marino 7-0, and everyone gets excited. And look, can we move away from let's move away from this. I want to talk about one player before we go back to the Europa League in one way or another. Before we do that, please smash the like button. Please subscribe to everyone on the channel. Please subscribe to Dan at Hotspur Hood. Please subscribe to the other Dan at Danalist. Please subscribe to Marlon at Spurs Kings TV. Kyriakou, are you still part of Tottenham on tour?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I haven't really done anything for a long time, so yeah. To be honest,
please subscribe to Brian Daigle at Tottenham on tour. That would be great as well. And please subscribe to me and to my second channel as well. Really appreciate that, guys.
There's also someone on X Twitter, Sav, as well. You keep forgetting every.
Yeah, I don't promote X. I think it's the cesspit. I don't promote X. I think that the things that get put in my WhatsApp groups, the opinions and comments from people on X, I've just never seen such dumb, dead comments in my life. I've seen compilations of Bergvall, people calling Bergvall better than Pedri at Barcelona. And I don't seem to see this on YouTube. I see it on X, and I'm like, nah, go away. It's terrible. Look, I want to go on.
No, well, people need to follow a proper X group, don't they?
Go and follow Lubo on X. There you go. That's what you were asking for. You go and follow Lubo on X. Guys, just before we move on, I do want to talk about a couple of. I want to talk about the new boys, how they're getting on. I want to look at Danso and Tell. I'm not gonna go at Kinski because I think very much Kinski's been bought for the future as a second choice goalkeeper. I want to start with Tell, and then we'll move to Danso. A lot of knickers in twists when we signed Tell from Bayern Munich. A lot of people telling me he's generational and he's amazing, and you watch what he does. All the videos came out from YouTubers, you know, the why he's perfect for Ange ball and what he brings. I think the difficulty we've got, and I know Lubo's first comment to me is going to be he's 19. I've been really, really, really underwhelmed with him as just a footballer at the moment. And it begs the question for me personally, guys, some of you might think I'm being harsh, is why did we go and get a 19-year-old on loan to solve any sort of forward issues we had in a transfer window? Am I being harsh, guys, or has anyone seen anything from Tell that makes them go, we've got to buy this guy for 55 million or whatever it is?
Nothing.
You don't buy him. You don't buy him. It's not, for me, he's not what we need. I don't know why we bought him. Listen, you can see he's got something about him, and he'll probably develop into a good player in the next few years. But he wasn't what we needed in January, unfortunately.
It's an opportunity, isn't it? It's always the opportunities at Spurs. All it
exactly.
is. It's obviously got some kind of relation towards Harry Kane deal. It has to be, right? But look, I do think Tell has got something, but I felt sorry for him against Ipswich yesterday because he was poor. He was really poor. He was making the runs and stuff, but his hold up play, he's losing the ball. He kept losing the ball all the time, and it was just really kind of he had a really bad game yesterday. But I think the consensus of Tell is like he's at this moment he's not probably a striker, but like who have we got? I mean, the only other person I'd probably right now put up front is Kulusevski and put Tell on the wing. put Tell as the right winger and put Kulusevski, or put Tell as the left winger and put Kulusevski up front, because I think he hold the ball up better than Tell.
You wouldn't give Dane Scarlett a run?
Or Dane, Dane Scarlett. I'd give him a run.
He's hardly had any minutes, but he's been decent when he's come on.
No, he's not. This is not the Sunday League. This is not Sunday League. Dane Scarlett wasn't wanted at Oxford. Right, Dane Scarlett couldn't cut it at Oxford. Is this where we're at? I'm putting my foot down.
Hang on. Sav, you've got Solanke injured, you've got Solanke, Richarlison both injured, and you've got Lancashire on loan. So he is the only centre forward, believe it or not, we have.
Hang on. No. What about Gray? He hasn't played up front yet. He's played everywhere else but up front. We can get him up there. No, I think once you
Has
start...
he played in midfield yet?
But Sav, have we not got enough players round pegs in square holes to put Kulusevski at centre forward? Come on. It's.
I think whenever I watch Scarlett play, and this is the thing, there's a huge difference between when you bring on a forward for 10, 15 minutes. There's a huge difference, and you see a little bit, to them starting a game, running the centre backs, running the channels, holding the ball up. I watched Scarlett 3 or 4 times this year for Oxford. He is not good enough. He wasn't good enough for Oxford. I'm sorry. I'm not having this. I know you love the youth players and you think they're all good enough.
It's nothing to do with youth. It's nothing to do with
not. He's not good enough.
He could be 23, 24. For me personally, I'd have Johnson there. I'd stick Johnson at centre forward now until Solanke's fit.
I would if we played through balls to him, but again, Johnson can't hold a ball up for Toffee, can he? Let's be brutally honest. If you're going the ball into Johnson, it's going to bounce back to you every time.
Right,
if I'm going to rate Johnson to a player, Johnson to another player, obviously not to the same degree. To me, in the box, he'd be more of a Gary Lineker sort of thing. The way he would play, the way he would play in the box. Obviously, I'm not saying these are the same standards, but to me, it'd be a Gary Lineker sort of.
That's what you kind of yeah.
Well recovered, Dan. Gary bloody Lineker, as in I played up front for Barcelona and was the World Cup top goal scorer.
Yeah, it's like when I say it's a poor man's. Basically, he would be that style of play. It's very poor. It's like Werner. Yeah. He basically plays exactly the same way as Son. It's just he's a very, very poor man's Son. And I think, like I said, Johnson, he would play the same sort of way that Gary Lineker played. It's just obviously he's nowhere near the same standards.
No, of course. But
let's go back to Tell. I want to go back to Tell. Really difficult because he is 19. I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry that we've bought a kid that still hasn't developed his own game. I still can't work out whether he's a centre forward or a winger. And I'm not sure what his game actually is. We paid £10 million as a transfer, as a loan fee for this player. It's been tough opening.
It was a pointless signing, wasn't it? Pointless signing, let's be real. What I've seen of him, so raw. Nothing against the player personally, but it's not what we needed. It's not what we needed. And once Solanke's back in, we'll never see him again for the rest of the season.
It's another youth player. We've gone and got another 19-year-old, basically, to try and do the job of a player that we expect, that we need to have some significant experience on him.
We were never going to get an experienced player because Tottenham don't want to put the cash down for it. They'd rather spend...
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly it, the wages, because it doesn't go above that 100 grand bracket. Because if you're going to go and get a striker that's going to compete with Dominic Solanke, you're going to have to pay him a lot more money than what he's on, because there's not many. Good strikers are few and far between. There isn't a lot of good strikers around. And then if you're going to get, say, like a 50-60 million pound striker, you're going to have to pay him like 150 grand a week.
So are we saying that we couldn't get anyone else?
No, I'm not saying we can't. I'm saying we choose not to.
We did try. We tried to.
We tried. We considered. We did all of the buzzwords that we get every transfer.
Danny, we spoke to Moani, didn't we? But obviously,
Moani's gonna come to fucking Tottenham.
Exactly. So who are we gonna get?
Come to Tottenham.
What Can I chuck some? I just want to say this,
Because
right?
we don't spend the money for it.
I'm always taking the piss out of because I think Villa are a good club. Look at Aston Villa, who they went and signed in this January window. Asensio and Rashford. Have you seen when Asensio and Rashford are on the pitch for Villa? How good they look.
Yeah.
Have you seen how hungry they are?
You know-
How good they
you know
look?
what,
How
when Rashford was even mentioned for Spurs, all Spurs fans, and at the time,
it's
put their noses
stupid.
up. Because I remember saying to someone,
Marlon.
take Rashford, and everyone
Marlon,
literally went at me.
I said on Twitter, right? I said I'd take Asensio all day long, and the amount of abuse that I was getting, right? People like he's crap. I was like, are you on a different planet? Like he's better than every single midfielder we've got right now, and that's saying something. And he's not even at the levels that he was at.
But Danny, this is a fan base. This is a fan base that for 2 years in a row, I think for like 4 windows in a row, we were linked to Dybala. And most of our fans were saying, I wouldn't want him. Right? Let's be fair. This is that fan base, Danny. This is the fan base that when we were linked to Nathan Ake, because he might have been leaving Man City 2 years ago, people were going, but I wouldn't want Nathan Ake. We wouldn't want him. We turned our noses up at Yuri Tielemans. This is a fan base that turned their noses up at really good players whilst raving about very average players. That's what we do. But my point was this. Aston Villa have gone out and gone to 2 massive clubs, right, in terms of PSG and Man U, right, and loaned 2 very good players. Now, Rashford we know is a good player, but we know there's other baggage that comes with him, and there might be a bit of a, can you get the best out of him or not? But it looks like Emery's put his arm around him and gone, oi, you can resurrect your career here, and I might buy you in the summer, blah, blah, blah. But Asensio, players like that, that's the caliber Aston Villa are going to get on loan.
But
we're bringing a 19-year-old kid Tell. It's
but everyone forgets,
cheese, isn't it?
Look, let's take the Diassi one. Every Spurs fan on YouTube and everything, when we were linked with Diassi, went, no, he makes too many mistakes. When Villa have signed him, and he's not making the same mistakes he does at Chelsea. He's gone to a complete different system, and
it suits him better.
It suits him
the
better.
System suits him better. And when you get a player playing in his position to his advantages and what he's good at, you see the difference. I don't think a striker is what we needed, personal opinion, because I still feel we have players that could cover that position for the meantime. I still think Son could cover it for 5 games as such. I think we needed a winger better who can actually cross that ball and directly pass that ball in there on a consistent basis. Not like Johnson, where he'll get the ball 1 out of 20 in there, or Son, he'll get the ball 2 out of 20 in there with a cross. I personally think we needed a winger more than we needed a striker.
Or someone who could play across the whole front line.
Some people are saying Tell is a winger, Dan. Some people are saying Tell
he's meant to be able to play on the left, on the right, and a striker. Yeah, I don't particularly know. As far as I know, he didn't exactly play that many games for Bayern Munich either. And I just think we needed someone who can get the ball in that box a lot better. And if we've got someone who can actually cross, that is why I still say we should play bloody Porro up front. And then you could use Solanke to something he's actually pretty solid in that, and that is in the air.
I agree.
It just thinks to me, guys, of I said it at the time. I said I've got no problem with signing kids, but when you bring in a loan player, surely the kid you're bringing it, surely the loan player you're bringing in isn't another kid that's still developing. Surely the loan player you bring in is ready to help you out there and then in that short time frame. But I'll be honest, I've just been really underwhelmed. People could say he's not a striker, right? I hear this all the time about Son's being poor because he's not in the right system. I'm talking about the basics. I'm talking about trapping a football, passing a football, holding the ball up. I've just been really, really underwhelmed with everything he's done. He does this a lot to the crowd, and people go, I love that. He's showing passion. I don't want that. I could go and do that for Spurs. Yeah. And I'll do it for £100 a week. You know what I mean? We need quality. We need quality, and we bought Tell.
Does this not show on a on the big scale for the whole transfer window? Does this not show a complete lack of strategy, complete lack of thought, just panic buying bringing players in. We didn't need Kinski. We've got Keeley and Gunter coming through. We've got Austin there as well, who's played well in the 2 games he's played. We didn't need Kinski. That was just, a pointless buy. Tell was pointless as well. It's just, 19-year-old kid. If you're going to bring someone in with quality, even if it's just for 4 months, who is a proven goal scorer, then do it. It doesn't matter. £10 million. It doesn't matter. If you're bringing in someone that's going to score 10 goals in 4 months, then great. Tell's never going to
You're
score.
right, Ian. But then we also went and spent 40 million on Archie Gray when we needed a centre-back, centre mid that could actually walk into that centre mid.
But what you bought with Archie Gray is 10 years.
No. Yeah, now you're diverting what you said. Now you're diverting what you said.
We've done 90 minutes without Archie Gray, and here we are. 90 minutes in.
But Sav, we didn't buy enough established players last year. Yes, bring in good kids, but bring in top established players as well.
I think we can all agree with that. We can all agree with that, Ian.
But this is Tottenham Hotspur. We're not a small time club. We should be bringing in established players.
And we went and spent 40 million on a kid that hasn't even played in his bloody position. We desperately needed a centre mid, and we spent 40 million on a kid that I'm not saying it isn't, but again,
you bought right back.
We need a player that gets into that team there and then in midfield, because everyone is saying the midfield is a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we went and spent 19 million on
a poor man's Phil Neville right now, isn't he? He's a poor man's Phil Neville right now.
He's 18 years old. I don't think you can compare it.
I'm joking. I just know what's going to get you, Lubo. I know what's going to get you.
I'm smiling. In 2 years' time, I'll be the one that has the last laugh.
By the way,
how long? 2 years? Nah, it's going to take him longer.
Just quickly, guys. The way I saw Gray bullied by Delap yesterday, strength-wise, power-wise, movement-wise, is every reason why when people say right now he should be our DM, nah, you are.
That's not the first time, is it?
He is weak. He is weak. He will get bullied by midfielders in there. He will. Yeah. I stand by my words. Everyone laughs at me. I stand by it. This guy should be out on loan, playing every game in midfield for a club and getting 90 minutes in his position. I'm telling you.
To Brentford.
He should be on loan to a club, Marlon, where he's going to play in midfield.
Yep.
At the moment, everyone's going out. It's doing him good playing at centre back. I don't know what good it's doing him. He's not developing in his own position. But we'll talk about Gray in a minute because I know we've got one more conversation before you have to go, Marlon. Danso is the other one. I've been really impressed with Danso. I would say yesterday I thought he had a difficult first half. Then I thought he had a very good second half. But in general, coming into this team, I believe it must be a baptism of fire. He must be turning around to his agent and going, every time I pass the ball forward, within 15 seconds, the midfield have parted and they're coming back at me. But other than that, I think he's been solid, right? I think he's been a solid addition.
No, definitely. I think, and then what you just said made me laugh because there was parts of yesterday where he actually just went, you know what, I'm going in midfield myself so it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
But no, he's been quite a revelation. I think because after the whole Dragusin signing, and we all saw what Dragusin brought to Spurs, we were kind of like, is Danso going to be exactly the same? But he seems to be more settled in the way Ange wants to play for once. And I know we kind of got him from under Wolves' nose, but he seems to, you can tell that he's played in the Premier League before as well. So you can tell that he's had a bit of stint and and it's not like where Tell's never played. But the last couple of games, Danso, especially as the games are now going on, Danso's definitely showed that he's going to be an asset over the next few months, hopefully. Look, things could go sour. He could end up becoming completely anged, as they say. But at the present moment, for what he's bringing to the team, especially yesterday, I thought, and I agreed with you, first half, and that's why I wanted him and Gray swapped, because I thought he looked very uncomfortable. But as that second half went on, he was bullying the players. He was getting himself forward. He was winning his tackles. He done really, really well. And he has probably surprised me a lot more considering how his debut went. And I feel like he's getting better as the games go on and where he's getting used to the team. But we'll see, because obviously what always happens with Spurs players, they come in, do well for a period because they've not been here, and then Ange takes over, the coaching staff take over, and then they become crap all of a sudden.
You see that with that Danzo, yeah? I can only judge by what I've seen. For me, he's a very dry lunch player. And what I mean by that is he doesn't piss ball about, he doesn't try anything, he doesn't try any sweet pass, nothing like that. He does his job. And sometimes that is what you want your centre back to be. No piss balling about, no short ball 3 times to the person next to you back and forth. And he also looks like a player that would quite happily kick it up the other end of the pitch, no matter what the manager says, because we do have those times when in doubt, kick it out. It's one of the oldest sayings out there. And to me, he just looks like a very bland, which isn't an actual insult to him, not heavy, strong defender. And
old school.
He also does.
Correct. Proper defender. He is a proper defender.
Who will be on the bench? Who will be on the bench the other side of the international break, right?
Time will tell.
I'd keep him in. Dan, I'd keep him in.
Yeah,
because I think if anything,
I agree.
We are crying out for a defender that just defends.
Not just that, Slav. He's aggressive in the right way. He's strong. He's pretty quick. He's pretty quick. He's good on the ball. He's not bad. He's not bad. I like his driving as well. Yesterday in the second half, his driving was brilliant.
What, like?
I play him in a 3.
He was driving through when he was going up the field, and he was like taking the ball
Lubo,
up the field.
we'd all play in a 3. Lubo, I mean, if you've got Danso on the right, Van der Ven on the left, and Romero through the middle, with Jed Spence and Adogi or Porro, whichever way you want to do as wing backs, you get Maddison in the number 10. You get Solanke up front with either Son or Johnson off him as the smaller guy that scores. It feels like it's not rocket science. It truly feels like it's all there. And I just wonder if someone like Glasner took over right now, in game 1, do you think that's the first thing you would see would be wing backs?
Mate, for me, it's just been that obvious. That's why I keep saying if Conte would be the manager now and see what the players were capable of now, we'd be doing significantly better, because it goes back to what I keep repeating myself on. Right formation, right players in their right position, play them to the right way, you will make an average team actually look good. And when I said to basically everybody like 14 months ago that we should not be playing like this, we should be playing 5 at the back or 3, 5, whatever way you want to put it. Some people call it 3 at the back, some people call it 5, including the wing backs. Yeah, I had 2 people agree with me, and I had a message off you, Savva. Totally, that makes sense. Whereas a majority of other people did not agree with me at all. And then after a few months after that, it actually started showing when we actually played some games and looked better on a counter-attacking style of play. And you look at the players we got, it just makes sense. It makes more sense than what we do, but we know he's not going to do it. So it's irrelevant, really.
Just quickly, Marlon, do you need to go? Are you?
I need to go. Yeah,
you need to
I
go.
need to go.
All right, Marlon. See you later.
Guys.
We love you. Thanks for stopping by. And if anyone wants to watch Marlon tonight, just go and watch Last Word on Spurs. I'm sure he's on there.
Stop it. Big up to all of you. Yeah, no. I love any time I come on this channel, you know I will. I'll always try and make time for you, Savva. But just one last bit on Danso. If he's impressed Savva, that's it. He's impressed me now. So I'm all good.
You know what?
I can go on Last Word on Spurs and praise him.
You know what? It just feels with Danso. Last thing before you go, Marlon. It just feels to me that he's the one player that's come in like that. Like Danny said, there's no frills, there's no spills. He doesn't try to be this brilliant bringing the ball out. He doesn't rely on pace. He's a centre half that is. My job is to stop the ball going in the back of the net. And he's played there by Ange. He's one of the only players that Ange buys that he actually plays his position. And I've got no issues with him. I'll be really disappointed if when Romero and Van der Ven are fit, if we see Danso on the bench. I'll be really disappointed if that happens. But listen, much love to you and the family. Take care.
See you later, mate.
Pleasure having dinner with you yesterday.
It was, man. It was good. It was a good one. Take it easy, Marlon.
Big up, right? Listen, I know. Maybe one of the rest of you who needs to go, just so I know whether to start a new subject.
I've got to go in 5.
I've got 5 minutes. So.
5 minutes.
Okay. Well, let's have the we don't need an Archie Gray conversation, do we? I'm sure we're really bored of Archie Gray.
Move on.
Did you want to ask? Oh no, it's too late for that now. I was going to say the question from earlier.
I wanted to, what was that, Dan?
The Levy question.
Mate, that's where we're going to. This is where we're going to, guys. Right?
You've been talking to Sean too much, haven't you? Come on.
Yeah, Sam's Levy.
If you say Sean's name enough, I've got a feeling he'll turn up. Like, do you know what I mean? Just like Sean. But it's an interesting point, right? And for anyone that missed it earlier, the conversation that myself and Danny Kyriakou were about to get into before I needed to go was there's a lot of people saying, well, look, factually, if hang on, there we go, Dan. There we go. Timer is on. The wife has told you the timer is on. Sorry, Beth. Give it an hour, Beth, and come back, please.
I've got a late dinner waiting for me.
Lots of people are saying if Ange was to win the Europa League, obviously it's all hypotheticals what we talk about. If Ange was to win it, he would go down as the most successful manager since the last time we won the cup, so since 1984, right? So we're looking at 40 years, 41 years, he'd be the best or the most successful manager in that time. So the question I'm asking is, a lot of people, and I think everyone on here is Daniel Levy and Enoch out. But wouldn't it be fair to say, and playing devil's advocate, and I want to see the reaction of people in the chat, should Tottenham win the Europa League? Isn't there a case in point for Daniel Levy to turn around and go, well, hang on, I told you that the stadium was going to be a game changer. We've moved into the stadium, and within 5 seasons, we've been in a Champions League final, and then we've won the Europa League. Wouldn't it be a case for him to turn around and go, there's your success, this is what we've built? Or would it still be, you've done a dreadful job, it's taken too many years, he and they have got to go?
We finish 16th and then go and win the Europa and get in the Champions League.
Yeah. That sounds funny when you say it, doesn't it, Dan?
It just sounds like a very Spursy thing to do, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Apart from the winning something.
Yeah.
But guys, what do you think about the Daniel Levy piece? Like, forget where we finish in the league. Surely that would be his way of saying, hang on, they're all protesting. We're the champions of Europe. We're the Europa League champions, and we've been to a Champions League final. I'm just playing devil's advocate. That's all I'm doing.
Also, the other thing you added as well, Sav, is the fact that, like, in his tenure, like, for comparing to Sugar, we've got to we'd have a European Cup, a Champions League final. And what was the other thing you said? I can't remember the other thing you said, but the fact that is something. I mean, for me, for me personally, I still think it's not enough. Like, considering what we have achieved in this time. Yeah, I know people can argue and say that look, we've been building and we've had a new stadium and all this kind of stuff, new training ground, but let's be honest, like, the real focus has never been on the football team. It never has been. That we were very lucky under Poch to like, if you actually look at what Poch did, he's actually lucky to even keep his job, to be honest. If it wasn't for that deflected Harry Kane free kick, he might have lost his job that against Aston Villa. So
sure, yeah.
So and if you look at the players we had in the squad at that time, we had quite a lot of those players already there. So it just needed a couple more, and then obviously we went and bought Alderweireld, and we went and bought a few more players, Wanyama, and then we still needed a couple more to then go and actually challenge for it and actually go and win the title or go and win an actual trophy, but never did it. And then we went a whole 2 or 3 transfer windows without single signing. So
year and a half on it.
Yeah, I mean, we're the first club in history to not sign a single player in the Premier League in the summer window, which is
another record that Spurs love.
Yeah, exactly. So when you look at these kind of things, it's like, that's the moment. If you've got any sense, or if you've got any ambition to win something, that's when you do it.
But in the context of what's going on at the club at the moment with protests, etc., right? Can you genuinely see? Guys, I know. Yeah. Look, genuinely, can you see? On the Wednesday evening, you've got Sonny holding the Europa League aloft, right? Yeah. On the Thursday or Friday, you've got an open top bus parade, and then at the weekend you've got Levy.
Do you know what would be even more funny, Savva? Do you know what would be even more funny? the look on Harry Kane's face, like after Spurs winning a European trophy, right? After all these years, they've gone and won a trophy, and Harry Kane hasn't been part of it. The record goal scorer for the club.
After all the years, he goes to a club where you literally bet your house on that he wins something. They win jack shit.
Yeah.
Right, I've got to shoot anyway. Take it easy, people.
See you later, Dan. I'll say my bit and then I've got to shoot. It's very easy for me. No way. Even if we win the Europa League, we can all still celebrate that Europa League, of course. Enjoy it. But for me, and Levy and the board, they need to start taking what goes on the football pitch seriously or sell. You know, it's simple for me. It really is. Simple for most of us. Every summer, you bring in 2-3 top players. What?
Does it kill the motion, though? Like, does it?
I hope not.
Winning the Europa League, does it kill everything dead in its tracks? People, what I mean by that is people that there's been people like me, people like Lubo, people like Stel, whoever it may be, Danny, blah, 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 Brian. Everyone's been Levy'S out for a very long time. Other people have been slowly but surely kind of coming around to that way of thinking. All of a sudden, you've won a European trophy, which we have not done for 41 years. All of a sudden, does that make all of those people that would maybe a bit Enoch and Levy out or thinking about going to Levy and out, does that make them go, oh, well, hang on, what do you mean? We've won a European trophy.
Look,
does that change the game?
I can't answer for everyone. But for me, my position remains the same. And the people who are pushing this protest change for Tottenham, you hope that they continue this and everybody, as many people getting on board. We won't know, Savva, will we, until we see it. And the likelihood of winning the Europa League is very, very slim, isn't it, to be honest? But it's a good question. I like it. But for me, as I said, we need to be buying top players, 2-3 top players every window.
Yeah.
We need to hire a decent coach. And it's simple. I think, look at the squad we have. We've got some good players. I think there's a lot of potential there with a good coach, bringing in 2-3 top players, a voice, a leader, experienced, just to help this team really push on. It doesn't take a lot, just a bit of clever recruitment. And Levy's not doing that, and he hasn't done it for 24 years. Yeah, no, listen, look, Dan, I thank you very much for coming on. I'll continue to have this debate with Danny Kay and Lubo, but big up to you. Hope you and the family are safe, and I'll speak to you soon. And everyone, please get over to DanList. And if one of my mods can put his link to his channel in the chat, that'd be amazing. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. Cheers, Ian. Nice to meet you, Danny.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well, Dan.
And Savva, cheers, and big up to everyone in the chat. Enjoy the rest of the show. Beth, listen, a minute early. Sounds like a sentence you've said to Dan before, but we'll leave it at that.
It was a Danny show tonight, wasn't it? Pretty much. It was the Danny show tonight.
Yeah, lots of Dans. There's too many of them about. Look, we won't go on forever, but it's an interesting one, Lubo, isn't it? It would be very Spursy that the moment... Hang on, it would be very Spursy the moment it starts to get a little bit of traction, the moment it starts to get, and then we win a European trophy, it will be perceived from the media as well. You've got to remember, the other fan bases will look in and be like, what are they complaining about? They've just won their biggest trophy for 41 years.
Okay, 3 answers for that. Firstly, in terms of your original comments, look at us, Champions League final and a Europa League since we moved into the new stadium. Hang on a sec, Enoch didn't buy the club when the new stadium was built. Enoch have been here since the year 2000. What the hell were they doing before then? Secondly, 1 trophy in 24 years. Yes, 2 trophies in 25 is marginally better, but come on, it's still crap. It's still awful. Let's not, you know what? And look at how United, who have had such success over the years, and they are still demonstrating. They're not resting on their laurels. They're still winning trophies. They might not be winning the league since Ferguson and David Gill left in 2012, but they've still won trophies. I think they won a UEFA Cup, didn't they? Well, under Jose, I think they've won a couple of League Cups. They've won an FA Cup. they're still winning trophies, United, and they're still not happy.
Sure.
And they demand higher standards, and that's what we've got to do. And so for me, nothing changes. Poch got Spurs to the final in spite of Enoch, and Ange will get Spurs to the final by some miracle again in spite of Enoch. Not because of them, not because Enoch and Daniel Levy have gone full thrust behind Ange and said, there we are, Ange, I'm going to back you. They've given him 300, he spent 320 million on players. Half of them have been kids. Solomon, Levy'S,
that's
Solomon.
What he wants. That's what he wants. I'm not going to allow that. Half of that is what he wants, Lubo. He said that himself. So, we've got to be fair on that. Half of it is what he wants. Half of it is what fans like you want. It's just kids. Everyone wants kids. This week, all I've heard is dibbling this, and I want Rory. I want Liam Delap. I want dibbling. I want this kid, that kid. Then when the board buy those kids, I hear, they only buying kids. So,
but we should be buying more, Sav. We should be buying more. We shouldn't just be buying 3 or 4 kids. Go out and buy established players as well. If you need 8 new players, don't buy 4 or 5. Buy 8 players. If you've got rid of 16, 17 players, you don't bring 5 in, plus Spence coming back on loan, which is 6. So you're minus 10 already. No wonder the squad's been short, and we've played an extra 10 in Europe that we didn't play last year. We had 1 in the League Cup last year. This year we've played 5, I think. Coventry, United, City, Liverpool twice. So that's 14 more games. So it's 55 at the moment instead of 41. Plus any that we go further with if we beat Alkmaar. So already we're 14 games more. We're not playing weekly like we were last season, apart from 2 or 3 midweeks. Mm-hmm. So, it's not backing. This is not backing. I'm sorry, not for me. This is not backing compared to how other clubs are. This is not backing. So, I
do hear you, but Lubo, it has to go hand in hand. If we're talking about what is backing, if you've got a manager that has come out openly and said, 1, I'm very happy with my squad. 2, I didn't want to buy leaders and experience. I want to develop them. At what stage you turn around and go, well, hang on, the manager's saying this, and fans want to have a pop at the owners. What if this is the I feel like he wants a lot of kids because I think they'll listen to him. I don't think a lot of senior. You look who he's rumoured to have fallen out with. Romero, senior pro, who's won things. Madison, senior pro, who's won things. Sonny, senior pro. Like all the players he's rumoured to have fallen out with are the senior pros. It's not Bergvall. It's not Gray. It's not Sarr. It's not Ado. It's not the kids, is it? It's the seniors.
No, I'm sure you're right on that point. But by the same token, is he not towing the company line? This is his big job this is his biggest paid job that he will get in his career. So he's not going to jeopardise that, is he? And talk himself out of the top. He's not going to talk himself out of the top like
doesn't have to say what he said. Like there's a way of not jeopardising something without telling everybody that I don't like buying leaders. I want to develop them. Like he didn't need to say that.
Maybe he's been told so. Who knows?
No, I don't feel like this man takes direction from anyone, if I'm honest. But look, Nick, we brought you in. Nick, Levy, Nick, they get a reprieve if they give us this. It will be. By the way, I don't believe this, Nick. I don't think it's happening. Right? It would be our best night as Tottenham fans for 41 years. Does that not get them a reprieve?
Well, according to Sean, he's already gone and bought his hotel tickets and his game tickets and everything else, right? Because he got excited earlier because he was like getting wound up by you and box office earlier. I could tell how that was going. I could just see it was about to explode before you left. But look, does it give him a reprieve? It shouldn't do, but I think we know what we don't want to happen. I mean, look, we obviously, yes, we want to win games of football, right? But I think we've seen this in the past with the protests and everything else, right? The moment Tottenham start winning and start doing well, it all tends to be forgotten. And I'm not saying it's going to this time, and I'm not saying it was because of anyone's at fault or what have you, but you know what fans are like. They're very fickle, right? Yeah. Does he get a reprieve? Do they get a reprieve? I don't know anymore. I think the one thing that Sim pointed out yesterday, should we actually be giving Daniel Levy props for Jed Spence? Because he was the one that signed him. Conte didn't want him.
That is shameless.
But it's true, right? Because Conte said he didn't want him, right? Conte said he didn't want him and that he was a club signing. So do we have to give Daniel Levy some credit for Jed Spence? I don't know.
You could give Perisic credit for that, Nick. You could give Perisic credit for that.
Credit for what? He's played 13 Premier League games and we're going on as though he's had 5 years of trophies.
I know.
What are we doing here? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
As Percy would say, we've been having this debate, Nick.
I'll nick that line from Percy now, if you don't mind.
We've been having this debate in our WhatsApp group this morning. Listen, I think Spencer's done well this season. I think he's come in, done well, and I think he's shut a lot of people up. He's also played 13 Premier League games. People like Sim going on, we give him credit. He's played 13 Premier League games for Tottenham, and we're going, "Cool, this player's brilliant. This guy's great. He should be the England right back, left back." You know, can we just for once as Spurs fans just go, let's take a step back. Let's let him make the position his own. Let's see him play there all of next season and do it consistently. No, 13 games, and we're putting him up with Carl Walker. That's what we're doing.
No.
No one's putting him up with Carl Walker.
I wasn't doing that. I was just kind of throwing a little...
Sim's saying, have we not got to give Daniel Levy credit for him? For what? He's played 13 games. He's a professional footballer that's played well.
I know, but you know what, it was horrible yesterday, sat next to Sim when Sonny was getting those assists, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm getting absolutely...
I do love Sim.
Like, he was literally like sat there like, I don't know what was worse, the smile on his face because we were winning and he was going, oh, this is Ange, or the smile on his face going, I'm about to mudge you for everything you said about Sonny. So, he'll be successful if we get. Like, I don't think we get into the final. I think semi-finals, and then that's our lot, right? So let's not. I mean, yes, we have all booked, reserved some hotels more out of hopium in Bilbao, not through like thinking that we haven't done a short and gone and bought a ticket to the game at stupid prices, right? It's hopium. It's hopium at this point, right? It's hopium. This is all we got left.
Can I ask what's different this time, guys? Like, this is not the first time Spurs have qualified for the knockout stages of a European competition, but everyone's talking like we're winning it already. Like, what's different? We had better teams under people like Pochettino and flopped. Better, we had Jose Mourinho in Europe and flopped. We had Conte in Europe and flopped. But suddenly
What's different, Sam? I've said all along, I think we have a chance. I think we're one of 5 or 6 teams that are in there with a shout. What's different is that this year there are no Champions League teams coming down.
Agreed.
It's a tier 2 trophy with tier 2 clubs in. And apart from Frankfurt, apart from Lazio, Frankfurt and Bilbao, none of the other relevant teams are having a great league season. We're not. United aren't. Sociedad aren't. So
yeah, but me,
Rangers aren't. It's.
Well, they've just sacked their manager in the last hour, by the way.
What Rangers have?
Rangers have it's just come up. Breaking news. Rangers have sacked Philip Clement. My hope is that Ange goes there. That's my hope. I want Ange to take the Rangers job. Just putting that out there into the world. Get some good energy. Get some. Yes, I can. I can imagine him in the Scottish League doing well. Yeah, I can. I've seen it. But guys, look, I mean, Do you? I mean, Danny, Nick, do you see what I mean? It's sort of like I've never known this before, where we've had such a shit season, yet there's still so much confidence from like the confidence that is brimming from such a shit team. I've never known anything like it. It's like going to the nightclub with your ugly mate who's never pulled a bird on a night out, and yet he's the one going, "Come on, guys, this is the night." And you know, at the end of the night, he's not pulled. Do you know what I mean? But that's Spurs. Yet for some reason, everyone's telling me this is our year to win it, and I'd love to win it. But Danny, Nick, do you see what I'm saying?
Go on, Nick.
Yeah, we look at the results. We got absolutely smashed off the park by Galatasaray, and it was 3-2 in the end. And everyone thought, oh, we had a chance of drawing that game or getting something out of it with 10 men. We drew at Rangers. We drew with Roma. We just beat Hoffenheim. I generally don't see what just everyone else is. Yeah, just beat Alkmaar. Alkmaar, who tore Galatasaray a new one, by the way. I don't see it. I don't see how we started off as favourites. We're now third favourites. I don't know what people are watching. Have they not seen us play all season, or is it because we're not going to be? We've got 8 days rest before the first leg, and then we're playing at home the second leg. Just to remind the guys, the quarterfinals and the semi-finals we're playing at home first, right? So we know so how that. The quarterfinal and the semi-final, if we get through, we're playing the first leg at home first. We're not going away.
Nick, so, which we did in the Champions League in 2019.
Oh, Ian.
I'm looking for Romans here.
We got Archie Gray, we got Bergveld. I know, Ian. I know.
No, I'm looking for Romans. Nick,
how are we going to do this, mate? Come on.
I'm looking for parallels here, mate. You know, listen, who knows? You don't know with this team. We could go out to Alkmaar. We could go all the way. You just don't know.
The one thing that isn't there that has helped us in the past, though, that we can't do is there's no away goals, and that's helped us, right? It helped us against City. It helped us against Ajax. There's no away goals, so unless these players come back and we get a Solanke back and we get these players back to play, I don't see how we're outscoring these other teams, because at the moment, you look at the games. If you look at the games where we've won and we've played well, yes, we've scored 4 goals. The other games, we've just scraped over the line. We've just done enough in the game, and that's obviously in the last few weeks, right? Forget about what's happened before that. So,
do you know, the thing is, though, it would be so Spursy if we like finish the season poorly, go and win the Europa League, and then get into the Champions League next season. I mean, that'd be the funniest story. Honestly, it really would.
Can you imagine?
But do you know what the funniest? Yeah, but do you know what the funniest thing is, Sav? You're going to get everyone saying, this is the summer we're going to spend big. This is the summer we're going to transform the squad. And then what do? We go and buy a couple more teenagers. And then and we expect that's going to work in the Champions League. Oh, it's going to be absolute. I swear, if we were to get to the Champions League by winning Europa League, next season it's going to be embarrassing for us. Like, genuinely, it's going to be embarrassing for us.
What I don't get, Danny, this is the thing I don't get. And we are going to end the show in the next in 8 minutes, guys. I'm going to end the show at 10:02. And yeah, I've just put Sky Sports News on yet, and Rangers have sacked Clement. What I don't get is I haven't seen a thing from us in Europe that makes me go, yeah, we're tactically astute. Yeah, we've got. I haven't seen anything that makes me go, yeah, this manager can outwit people. But yet we're going, yeah, we're one of the 4 or 5 favourite. I don't know based off what, because it's not off history. It's not off league form. It's not off anything we've actually done so far in this competition. So I just don't get where it's. And if I'm wrong, listen, I'll say this right now. Said it also. Happily, I'll be wrong. If we win that Europa League, come and throw mud at me. I won't care. Spurs will have won a European trophy. But I just don't get where it's coming from. We've been utter dog shit in Europe. We've been awful.
Sav, it's all about peaking at the right time.
But what does that mean? Like, what? That sounds, Ian. That sounds like a lovely cliche. Peaking
at the right time, getting better as we go deeper into the competition.
I understand what peaking at the right time means. What I mean is in terms of what's that got to do with Spurs?
I'm trying to be confident here. I'm a glass half full guy. I'm trying to look for positives here.
I know, but what I'm asking is what I'm trying to get at is, hang on. Oh, Luka Modric, that's naughty. If anyone's seen the Luka Modric goal today.
Yeah, disgusting.
Disgusting. That's naughty.
But, he scored one against Bolton, very, very similar. I think it was Bolton. He scored a literally symmetrical goal.
And Liverpool. Do you remember that goal at the Lane?
No, I know that goal, but the goal that he scored tonight is literally really similar to the goal that he scored against Bolton. It's really
even Bellingham's in the stand going. Oof. But look, this is what I don't get. My worry is, one-off games. You could say, we beat Liverpool 1-0 in the first leg of the League Cup, right? One-off games. Yeah, we beat Man City this season. Over 2 legs, I just don't know that this manager's got it tactically within him. I watched Bilbao play, and I think Bilbao would rip us a new one. I genuinely think Bilbao would walk. Their wide men would absolutely destroy us. And yet people are going, we're the best team in it. And I just don't get where and how and what's been our most impressive win.
Have Bilbao got a better wide man than Salah that Spence would mark? Serious question. Have they got a better winger than Salah?
What's that got to do? There's no.
You just said they've got wingers that will rip us apart. Well, I didn't see Salah rip Spence apart, but Salah's the best player in Europe this season.
So because Salah has a bad game.
Who said he had a bad game? Spence had a blinding game.
Okay, all right, whichever way you want to look at it. Because Salah didn't do what he normally did and Spence had a good game, means now that no other winger can do anything to Jed Spence.
I didn't say that. But I'm coming from for once I'm coming from a positive place in terms of Spence being a really good fullback who's in probably the form of his life at the moment, who's played Salah and Mbuemo out. Sorry, and you're telling me that these wingers are better than Salah? No.
No one said that. But these wingers, the wingers who play for the difference is the wingers that play for Bilbao are actual wingers. Again, Salah is not a winger. Salah is a forward who gets the ball and drives to goal and cuts in to shoot. I'm talking about wingers that put their foot over the ball, beat a man. This again.
Bilbao got a bloody hard game, Sav. They've got a very tough game.
Sure, Roma. I'll look at Roma then. Roma are a bloody good team now under Dilly Ding Dilly Dong. He's sorted them right out. He has. He's sorted them right out. Have Roma. But again, look at the copium. Jed Spence, who's having a good time because we're actually seeing him play football, now is the reason why no winger can do anything against Tottenham Hotspur. Like,
I didn't say that.
You did. You basically did.
No.
All we need to know, if we play Bilbao, Nico Williams is going to tear Pedro Porro an absolute new one.
But Porro won't be there, Nick. I'm telling you.
Of course he will.
Make that spot
Ian, I genuinely think that.
Surely this manager cannot be that stupid.
Yep. I actually see it. Like, he rested him, played Porro, and Udogi's just coming back as well, so he doesn't want to risk him. So what he might do, he might start. I don't know. It's hard. I mean, if I was him, I'd do exactly what he did against Ipswich and start Spence, start Udogi, take Udogi off at halftime, whatever, and then for the fitness, so don't get, I don't know, or 60 minutes in, move Spence to the left and then put Porro on, or something like that. 70 minutes, put Porro on. But other than that, if he does anything different, I'm done with him. I'm honestly done with him because
I'm done with him anyway, Danny. Because
but the fact that it will just go to show that everything that he's been saying in the media, this was my plan and all this kind of stuff, is absolute load of crap, which we all know it is anyway. But it's just you can't take out your best performer in the games that you've actually, well, one of your best performers in the games that you've won in the last 3 games. And then take him out. Like, it's just stupid. But that is something Ange would do. That is something he would do.
I know. Forget the last 3 games, because The last 3 games has just stopped the free fall. That's all that's done.
Yeah, I know that. But
Spencer's been our best player for 2 months since he started playing.
Yeah, no, he has. Yeah, he has.
So how can you actually drop your best player? Should I say your most informed?
If anyone can, Ange can.
That's right. I mean, surely he cannot be.
He does it to Maddison. Most weeks, doesn't he? When Maddison has a goal contribution.
How would you guys? Game one week, he's on the bench the next. There's no rhyme or reason to what Ange does.
I know.
But listen, I just can't get, guys. It's only me. I'm not asking anybody to agree with me. I never need anybody to agree with me. I'm comfortable enough in my own football opinion. I just cannot understand where this level of optimism has come from. That Spurs are this great team that no other team in Europe is going to be able to handle. I watched Bilbao play. They're a team. I watched Roma play. They're a good team. Bilbao. I watched Lazio play. Really good team. I watch us play. We're just wide open. People think we're going to go to these 2-legged games. People think we're going to go away to Roma or Bilbao or Lazio, and those teams won't pull us apart. I just don't know. I just don't know what we're watching. I don't know where it's coming from. And I don't like this whole glass half empty, glass full. I'm a factual person. I'm trying to find facts and evidence to suggest it, not, I really think it's going to be good. I just don't get it. They've got Nico Williams. Yeah. They've got Inaki Williams. They're quick. They're fast. They're strong. They're powerful. Just, I don't know. Like, yeah, even like Ait Nouri had a good game against Salah. Does that mean Ait Nouri's better than? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Don't get it.
Well, that's the
when we don't win. But when we don't, because I heard all this about the League Cup, I heard all this about the FA Cup, and now that those people that were telling me they're glass half full and they're positive and I'm negative. There's an excuse to why we went out, but now we're going to definitely win this one. I just feel like we're not learning. It's only my opinion.
If all of us agreed on here, Sav, no one would watch.
I'm not asking.
It would be interesting, wouldn't it?
I'm not asking anybody to agree with me. I don't need them to. I just, yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, realistically, look, we get into the semi-finals, but that's then Lazio ultimately, unless something crazy happens, right?
You think, yes, you'd expect it to be Lazio if we got through, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and you'd say what it'd be Roma or Bilbao against Sociedad. You reckon I
wouldn't be surprised if United beat Sociedad.
They can't
Both
even.
Both of them are inconsistent, and you know, United were inconsistent last year. Still ended up beating Man City in the final. I know they got lucky against Coventry, but
how funny would it be if it was Spurs United in the final?
Imagine. We had Wolves in the UEFA Cup final, and we had Liverpool in the Champions League final. So,
Bilbao, a good team. They are a very good team. Did they win today? Like they had a massive win today, didn't they? Something like that.
7-1.
7-1, and they're fourth in the. I've just seen it. They're fourth in the table. So yeah, they're a really strong team.
Could well be a Roma Lazio final, couldn't it?
Jesus Christ!
Ian, you said we're getting there, so it can't be a Roma Lazio final.
Nate, I said we are 5 or 6 teams that are in reach.
Hang on.
And I've said that all along.
Henry Wright gracing me with his presence. Henry Wright,
wow.
How are you? Henry, what have I done to deserve this? Big up to you, mate. Hope you are well. Much love. He said Bilbao won the Copa del Rey last year. They know how to win. We don't. Fans are losing their mind over Spence. Yes, he was good, but some fans are now saying he's the best fullback in the league.
Sorry, who is saying he's the best fullback in the league? Yeah, people. Fans say this. I never see these things. Maybe I'm looking on the wrong. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. I don't know. I don't see these people that are saying Spence is the best fullback in the league. Sorry, who said that?
I'm in WhatsApp groups where posts get sent. YouTube videos get sent and you go, I can't believe. I sent you one the other day where someone was saying Bergval's better than Pedri of Barcelona. This is where we're at. Bergval done a Cruyff turn against Man United and he's better than Pedri You know, the
Sam, why do we take any notice of these things? Seriously, they're not worth commenting on.
Yeah, but Lubo, there's so many of them. I don't think you seem to understand. These aren't one-offs. There are many of them out there. Look how many YouTubers make a video every time a player signs. This is why he's perfect for Ange ball. And then 4 weeks later, when they've done nothing, it's but he doesn't quite work because of this, that. It's
Did you? I know this is a random thing, but did you know that Bilbao's squad, every single player is Spanish? They've got one player who's
region, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got one player who's was actually Nico Williams, who plays. His nation is Ghana, I think he is. Other than that, they're all Spanish. They play good football as well, don't they?
Mm.
Yeah, we're not going to beat someone like them. We're not going to beat someone like them. No way.
Just really quickly, if Danny Kiriakou can make it through 6 minutes till 10 p.m.
Yeah, go on.
Can we just? I think we've got to mention the horrific press conference that Ange gave, where he said what he said about Jed Spence, how he tested him. Can we just not have a manager that tells the truth and says, I got it wrong? Like, can we not just have, I got it wrong. He's proved us wrong. He's done really well. Like what nonsense was he spouting, guys?
Well, it's the same nonsense, Savva, about Ben Davies being injured, but the club don't want to say anything because they're embarrassed by all these injuries. So Ben Davies wasn't in the squad yesterday. So what are we reading from that? Are we all dumb and that we think that we know he's not injured, right? What? Oh no, he's taking the weekend off, or what is this nonsense? Again, it's not the first time that he's come out with. When you just sit there and you go, Ange, you just shut up, mate, because you're just embarrassing yourself, and it's got worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's like you said about, would you be surprised if Spence got dropped and Porro played? No. Would you be surprised if Ange came out and said something else? I mean, it's just, Mickey van der Ven, it's all gone quiet about him again. He's going to be back in a couple of weeks, or we're trying this. It's just tell us the truth. We know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We have to manage him. Well, we saw him. When did we see him? Was it 3 weeks ago we saw Mickey?
It was, what was it? Was it Elfsborg?
It was Elfsborg, wasn't it? It was Elfsborg.
Yeah, when was that?
30th of Jan.
Well, we're managing him well then. We're managing him well, so well that he doesn't play football anymore.
Yeah. Romero was supposed to be back, 4 weeks ago. He'll probably be back. Like I said earlier, he'll be back.
They said he's going to be back for the Europa League, didn't they? They said
of course he is, of course he is. You know why? Because there's an international break coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like he did last season. He came back for earlier in the season for one of the games before he went out to play for Argentina. I just think you're right, Savva. I just think it's embarrassing. I think he just needs to say, I got it wrong. And actually, people would give him more props, more flowers, whatever the kids say these days, and say, "Do you know what? Fair play, it's flowers." Yeah. But
my flowers, Nick.
Yeah. So
it's something right. You were wrong. Give me my flowers.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it? You got any flowers, Lubo?
It's like saying someone's sick. You know what I mean? This whole thing. Oh, that's sick. Really?
Oh,
I've had too much to drink in my day, and now it's sick. It's great. It's like,
Lubo getting down. Lubo down with the kids. This is brilliant.
I think this is it.
3 minutes to 10 on a Sunday night.
It's almost like he is trying to take credit for mistakes he made. And do you know what? I don't mind, right? I said this earlier. Every manager makes mistakes. Look at one of the greatest managers that's lived. Guardiola has made mistakes in the biggest of games. Yeah. Own it. But instead, he's tried to twist it that Spence is now playing well because of the way he's handled him and treated him. And I finally decided to give him his chance. No, you didn't. You ran all those other players into the ground and got them injured. You had no one else.
If these injuries hadn't happened, Spence wouldn't be anywhere near that pitch. We know that.
Right. But now we've got Lubo saying that there's not one winger in world football that can get past him.
I didn't say that. I didn't say. You said that they wouldn't rip. You said they would rip us apart. That was your comment. You instigated it.
They would rip us apart. They would rip us apart. They would.
Let's see.
We will see. We'll see. Guys, I will leave it there. It's been a thoroughly fun day of talking about football as always. Listen, please smash the like button on your way out, people. Just want to thank Lubo, as always. Always good fun, always good entertainment, and always gets a little bit too excited about the teenagers that aren't actually that good. But fair play to him. He always comes on. Thank you very much, Lubo. Danny, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
good to have you back on the scene.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been good. It's been a good day today.
Yeah, it's been a lovely day today, hasn't it? It's been very good fun being a football fan today. And thank God Nottingham Forest lost, because I'm on tomorrow with Wolfie, and it's been really hard work listening to Forest fans tell me they're in a title race all season.
He's still going to say they're in a title race, Savva, and he's going to say, where is Spurs? You know that'll be, that's what will happen tomorrow.
It's just the 17 points off the top. I mean, it's still mathematically, it's still there. It's still there for the taking. Guys, thank you very much. What I would say is please do like, please do subscribe. These shows do take a lot of effort, a lot of energy. So please do. Thank you. Take care, everyone. And apparently Steven Gerrard is third favourite with the bookies to get the Rangers job again. Just putting that out there. Wow. And fair play to Frank Lampard, doing a wonderful job. Commentary, by the way. He's doing a great job. Anyway, don't know where those two things came from. Take care, everyone. And Henry Fong TV has said like and sub all. Thank you very much. One super chat this evening. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Henry Thong TV. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Easy out. Archie Gray in.
That's it.
Where's Ange
tonight?
Archie Gray for president.
Where's Ange? I've not seen any comments. It's gone missing again.
Archie Gray for Prime Minister, President, and Archie Gray.
Leader.
He's going to take Daniel Levy'S
Archie
job.
Gray.
For manager,
Archie Gray.
Manager.
Archie Gray.